Apocalypse ruined plants vs. zombies. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 175 Arrival, Orange County. Very quickly, or in the blink of an eye, Su Lin arrived at Chunfeng City, next to the military base. Although he was somewhat inconvenient to move in this airplane form, however, he still struggled to pack up the sunlight teleportation array hidden on the ground. With the teleportation array, it is better to be prepared. If it really doesn't work, he won't need the Reed fighter when he comes back later and can directly tear open the space. Through the teleportation array, he returned to the survival farm. Of course, Su Lin had another purpose. This Orange County is too far away. God knows what will happen to the survival farm halfway. If the base camp catches fire, he will have to rush back to put out the fire. Then, Su Lin stretched out his arms directly, and the jet device on his back sprayed directly, exploded and took off, parallel and straight. In this way, more than an hour passed. Su Lin came to Orange County. Came to this place, where it would take a day and a night to drive. It feels a bit cold. Su Lin, flying in the air, slowed down, silently observing the city on the ground, while thinking about the next plan. Can this state last for another 10 minutes? Then dive down, and conduct a round of strafing demonstration? Or cancel it, and sneak in to see the situation first? How to do it? Just when Su Lin was confused, in a house in Orange County, there was a man sitting in front of an electronic screen, playing poker out of boredom to kill time. So boring. I don't know what the boss was thinking. He prepared radar air defense from the beginning. But that's what my ability is. The radar ability can monitor and defend a certain area in all directions. It's just that now all the planes are out of service. All countries and forces are busy collecting supplies. How could anyone? As soon as the voice fell, an alarm rumbled. The man was so scared that he quickly sat up from his chair. Damn it, is there really someone who is not afraid of death and comes to invade? Let me see. The man also directly called up the surveillance video. Superpower. A superpower with airplane wings? No matter whether you are a superpower or not, and whether your purpose of coming here is to join us, you can't be so arrogant. Hey, just in time, come down. After grinning, he waved his hand. Suddenly, several rocket launchers appeared on the roof. The rocket launchers appeared out of thin air and flew directly towards Su Lin. Just when Su Lin was thinking about what to do, a sound of breaking through the air came. Subconsciously, he attacked the clouds in front without hesitation. Several gun barrels under his arms went off. Boom. Explosion. Explosions occurred one after another. Rocket launcher? This? Then let it be. After realizing that he was almost attacked by a rocket launcher, Su Lin, who had an idea, pretended to be shot down and fell down. Wrapped in a lot of thick smoke, he fell to the ground. Before he was about to fall to his death, he stopped his falling trend and landed safely. It was just as he expected. The psychic who discovered Su Lin's trail and attacked directly couldn't stop jumping for joy. It's really me. Ha ha ha. I shot down an enemy. I'm so awesome. The first intruder. After laughing, he showed a proud expression. Next time I meet the boss, I must brag about this. Hey. After monitoring the explosion through radar, a figure fell down with a lot of billowing black smoke. He thought everything was fine and was very proud. He was relaxed and never thought that all this was just Su Lin's plan. TSK. Su Lin stood up and stretched his muscles. Just now I was thinking about attacking directly or sneaking in slowly. It's really worthy of the Psychic Alliance. You came up without even saying hello and attacked directly. Then don't blame me for being cruel. After sneering, Su Lin observed the surroundings with a cold look. If I hadn't reacted quickly, I would have died long ago. Over this hill, we'll be in Orange County. Set up the sunlight teleportation array first. The teleportation array was set up again successfully. In this way, Su Lin could return to the survival farm at any time. What he didn't expect was that his anger burned even more as he climbed over the hill. Looking around, the corpses all over the ground were not killed by starvation or thirst, but by being killed alive. Burning, beheading, freezing, all kinds of methods were used. Many animals have begun to eat these corpses, not polite at all. Among them, there are several animals that have undergone genetic mutations, and there is a kind of breathtaking pressure just there. I'm afraid these people are all ordinary people in Orange County. Under the policy of the superpowers, ordinary people are no longer needed in this world. If these ordinary people don't leave Orange County, the headquarters of the Superpower Alliance, the ending is obvious. The superpowers have already started the clearance plan here at the headquarters. Su Lin gritted his teeth. Although this matter had nothing to do with him, it was really unbearable to do so. In order not to alert the mutants, Su Lin made a detour and came to Orange County from the other side. It was dead and gloomy. This dead air was probably even worse than the city of Fashion City, which was occupied by giant insects. You know, under the persecution of giant insects, there was not a single person left in the entire Fashion City. The situation in Orange County was probably similar. There was a shortage of superpowers, and there were probably not even 100 people in this huge city. Su Lin shook his shoulders. Since that was the case, he should first consider the problem of lurking in. Lurking was something that Su Lin was very skilled at. Military bases, cities, and towns here, he could easily do it. Orange County was very different from other cities. Chunfeng City felt like it was being smashed, looted and burned by thugs. Fashion City was like an unknown giant creature that was wreaking havoc. And here, it was unimaginably complete. This completeness was filled with a feeling of repair. Perhaps some supernatural being had repaired the entire city. Then, Su Lin slowly approached the city center with bated breath. He had a hunch that there were people in the city center. The fact was just as he thought. There really were people. Two middle-aged men were sitting at an outdoor cafe, seemingly chatting about something. As it happened, this side was a residential area, so Su Lin took the opportunity to sneak into the house and secretly listen to their conversation from the side. Hey, did you know that Dongsheng is back? Oh, didn't he say that he went to find that Thunder King? Chapter 176 Gathering Intelligence. Yes, but somehow, the whole hand was cut off. How is it possible? Dongsheng's space ability is very practical. As long as he wants, he will be invincible. Who knows? We are still trying to stop the bleeding and treat him. We don't have any healing abilities. So what? I don't know. Someone just suggested sending Dongsheng to a hospital in a nearby city. How can this be possible? The man was a little excited, and even a few blue veins popped out. How can we let those ordinary people touch and check our bodies at will? I think so too. I really don't know who suggested this. When he heard this, Su Lin began to roll his eyes. There must be a limit to shamelessness, right? If the personnel are all psychics, then what about the things that only ordinary people can do? Just like now. What if a psychic is injured? Before the psychic with healing ability appears, will he die directly from a little injury? Su Lin rolled his eyes. He didn't know if this psychic alliance had a hole in his brain. There is no need to kill ordinary people. At most, they can just treat ordinary people in a relationship of ruling. The only possible explanation, Su Lin thought silently in his heart, maybe it's because of insufficient supplies? That is to say, this superpower alliance does not have enough supplies to feed the slaves under its rule. As a last resort, they have to temporarily adopt the expulsion operation. Or they plan to enjoy the most supplies with the least number of people. The subsequent casual conversation between the two also indirectly confirmed Su Lin's guess. Never mind, I heard that the boss will take us to rob in a few days. Oh, are we finally going to take action? Yes, according to the original plan, we will go to a city, persuade the superpowers inside to join us, and then kill all the ordinary people and rob all the supplies. Ha ha ha. That's a must. How can these people who have not awakened superpowers be on an equal footing with us? Yeah, I think so too. Fortunately, I joined the Superpower Alliance. Now I not only have no worries about food and drink, but I'm also a superior person. Let's go. It's time for afternoon tea. What is afternoon tea today? The two of them left together. Su Lin, who was hiding in the corner, couldn't help but grin. The general information has been collected. Then let's talk about it next. Su Lin jumped out directly. At the moment of taking off, He had already taken out a pistol and aimed at the back of one of the people's heads. Peng. Shoot directly. Accurate headshot. Who is it? The other person turned his head in surprise. But it was too late. Su Lin shot and landed accurately and rushed forward with a brisk step. He took out the man-eating shark and pressed it directly against the man's neck. Tell me, what is your ability? 3 seconds. If you don't tell me, I'll kill you. Su Lin said viciously and used a little force, first cutting a shallow cut on his neck. The psychic who felt the pain trembled. He knew that the stranger in front of him was serious. After shooting his partner, he immediately rushed up and held him hostage. The speed was so fast that he didn't give him any reaction time. He was very skilled and was definitely not an ordinary person. 3, 2. Su Lin's veins popped up, and it seemed that he didn't even plan to count to 1. I'll tell you. Partial hardening can turn your hands and feet into steel. Hard and unbreakable though, only hands and feet. Yes. No wonder your neck didn't harden, even after I did this to you. Su Lin sneered. At this critical moment, what people say is often true. Go. Follow me over there. After saying that, Su Lin dragged the man to the place where he had just hidden and quickly tied him up with a rope. At the same time, he also cleaned up the body of the person who had just been shot and even wiped off the blood, lest anyone notice anything unusual. Tell me. Returning to the corner of the room, Su Lin stared at the tied up man. Name. Chen Jun. Chen Jun swallowed his saliva. Finally recovering from his shock, he began to tremble. Who is this person? As soon as he came up, he shot and killed people without saying a word, without any room for negotiation. Who is your boss? I haven't seen this either. Huh. It's true. Chen Jun nodded repeatedly. Then he explained. It turned out that there were 5 initiators of the Superpower Alliance. The other 4 could barely meet. But the 5th person has not shown up yet. It is said that all the policies and plans are decided by the 5th person. So no one has ever seen the nominal boss. Then do you know the abilities of these 5 people? I don't know how. Su Lin frowned and took out a knife to gesture again. I don't know. I really don't know. Chen Jun was so anxious that he almost cried. I'm just a small character. People like K Dong Sheng can barely get a kada. How many people are there here? About 80 or 90. Based on what you know, what is your most powerful ability? This should be K Dong Sheng's space teleportation and Amin's petrification attack, right? Petrification attack. What's going on? I haven't seen it either. It seems that, as long as you are stared at by Amin for 3 seconds, you will turn into a stone statue. Huh. Su Lin raised his eyebrows. Speaking of which, he seemed to have seen a lot of stone statues in front of the corpses on the hill. It might be similar to the ability of Medusa to petrify. What is the ability of the man I just shot? He can turn water into oil and oil into water. Oh, that's quite important. Being able to turn oil into water can, under certain circumstances, alleviate your water source problem. Yeah, but he's being killed by you. How do you solve the problem of food and drink? Basically, we eat stored supplies. It doesn't matter even if we mutate. Although it's inevitable to vomit and have diarrhea, aren't we used to it? But sometimes the food we eat seems to be fresh. I heard that this is the ability of one of the 5 leaders. Oh, Su Lin nodded. The intelligence was almost collected. Then Su Lin's eyes sank. He didn't intend to let Chen Jun go. Su Lin also planned to slowly lurk in and make a good assassination. But unexpectedly, footsteps were heard outside. Just when Su Lin was about to signal Chen Jun with his eyes not to make any noise, Chen Jun cried for help fearlessly. Help. There are enemies. Chapter 177. A big fight. Su Lin was stunned. There were at least 5 people walking in the footsteps just now. After being called out by Chen Jun, he might have noticed the situation here. He didn't expect that under the threat of death, Chen Jun would still have the courage to test Su Lin's determination. Stab with a horizontal knife. Su Lin stabbed the dagger into Chen Jun's Adam's apple without hesitation. Without the slightest hesitation. Chen Jun's eyes flashed with disbelief. He originally thought that Su Lin would not be so decisive. He could take advantage of the opportunity to interfere with him and try to escape. At worst, He might become Su Lin's hostage. Thus, he could get a glimmer of hope. But Su Lin's bravery and decisiveness really exceeded his imagination. How could you be so ruthless in killing people? Chen Jun only left such a last word before he died. Su Lin sneered and looked at Chen Jun, who had become a corpse. Did you blink when you were slaughtering ordinary people in Orange County? Did you blink when you wanted to occupy my farm? Did you blink when I just arrived and several rockets were fired at me? With a swish, Su Lin retracted his dagger. The house was no longer safe. A voice came from outside. Who is it? Is it Chen Jun's voice? Chen Jun. Is there an intruder? Su Lin took a deep breath. He knew that all the people outside were superpowers. They were not ordinary people in the military base who only used guns. If he was not careful, he might also capsize in the gutter. Since the assassination plan didn't work, then destroy this place. Come on, giant power, or thunder fell from the sky. While destroying the house where Su Lin was, a huge figure appeared out of thin air. High is his first impression. Big is his second impression. Super giant, about 30 meters high. It is a human-shaped high-rise building. And when the super giant appeared, it also brought about a raging explosion and a surging heat wave. Although superpowers just now were buried in the sea of fire, and the area where Su Lin was located was completely reduced to ruins. With a big hand raised, as the giant's hand passed by, several high-rise buildings were directly crushed into powder slag. Anyway, there are no so-called ordinary people here. They are all members of the Superpower Alliance. Su Lin was relieved to destroy it. With his actions, a giant comparable to a building suddenly appeared. Naturally, everyone in the Superpower Alliance was alarmed. Damn it. What's going on? Gather, gather, gather. What kind of superpower is this? It can actually become such a behemoth. Enemy attack. Enemy attack. Enemy attack. A young man with short red hair cursed. He was Lin Heo, one of the 5 initiators of the Superpower Alliance. Damn it, the other 4 are not here. We have to rely on ourselves. Lin Heo rushed out, with nearly 10 people beside him. Enemy attack. Gather all the superpowers, and kill that behemoth. Yes. Boss Lin. Boss Lin, don't you plan to talk to him? This superpower is also very terrifying. It will definitely be a powerful helper in conquering cities. Son of a bitch. Lin Heo stepped forward and slapped the person who came up with such a plan. It can be seen that he is here to cause trouble. If he wants to join us, how can he destroy so much right away? Come on. Beat him to death. The gang fight is about to break out. Just as Su Lin was about to take a big step and continue to move towards the city center, suddenly, his feet softened. He glanced over. The original cement road, although it had been crushed by Su Lin, it turned into a muddy swamp. It directly dragged the colossal titan down. I'm afraid it's not the superpower of the swamp. TSK. Su Lin gritted his teeth. Since it has come to this, what else can he do? He had to cancel the state of the colossal titan directly. He turned back into a human and appeared in the air. Just as he was falling down due to gravity, a bolt of lightning struck again. In order to better deal with these psychics, it was obvious that the colossal titan, which was the slowest in movement despite its powerful destructive power, was not the best choice. The best choice was the jaw titan. The jaw titan turned directly into a 4-legged beast and used all its strength to jump on the building. It successfully jumped over the coverage of the swamp. Then it touched the ground like a dragonfly skimming the water. With the help of the force of the ground, it jumped up and rushed towards the closest psychic. The jaw titan opened its bloody mouth. And the psychic also showed other changes. It turned into a giant white tiger. 2 non-human creatures came to a head-on collision. But the jaw titan's mouth could crush anything. When the jaw titan opened his bloody mouth, the outcome had already been determined. Poor white tiger was torn into 2 halves by the jaw titan. After successfully killing a mutant with 1 strike, the jaw titan did not stop and rushed to another unlucky guy again. But this unlucky guy was not in a hurry and threw nearly 10 lemons directly from his pocket. When he saw the lemons again, the jaw titan was still a little surprised. But the arrow was on the string and had to be shot. The jaw titan, who took advantage of the situation, had already opened his bloody mouth. He was ready to collect all the lemons. while eating the unlucky guy in front of him. But boom, boom, boom. The jaw titan only felt a wave of heat in his mouth. Unexpectedly, these lemons turned out to be bombs. When the smoke of the explosion passed, the sharp mouth that the jaw titan was proud of had been blown into a bloody mess. I don't know whether the blood on it is the jaw titan's own or that unlucky guy's. Although the unlucky guy caused great damage to the jaw titan, the jaw titan's big mouth swallowed the unlucky guy. Damn it. Su Lin tried and found that his mouth had no feeling. After being blown up like this, it would take some time to recover. But how could the psychic give Su Lin such time? Seeing them rushing over one after another, Su Lin knew that he couldn't drag on like this. He immediately cancelled the giant power again. He turned into a human form again. In an instant, Su Lin directly activated the ability of plant possession. Nuts. This is the fundamental way to save your life. Several transparent shields suddenly appeared around Su Lin. These shields surrounded him. The shields rotated continuously and formed a defense shield, thus protecting Su Lin from all directions and preventing him from being hurt. Duration: 30 minutes. Chapter 178, Will-O-Wisp, first appearance. At least, in these 30 minutes, Su Lin is invincible. But, if it's a swamp attack like just now, it will be troublesome. Su Lin blinked his eyes and looked at the psychics who were gradually gathering in front of him. Damn. Lin Hao pushed the crowd away and came to Su Lin. You finally showed your human form. Giant psychic. Hey, Su Lin smiled. I didn't expect that I was still regarded as a psychic. But it doesn't matter. Let them continue to misunderstand and let them not know their true abilities. Wait. Lin Hao's pupils suddenly widened. You are the owner of that farm. It is said that the owner of the farm has countless supplies. Your name is Su Lin, right? What's going on? Lin Hao frowned. Previously, it was him who used some special ability to monitor Su Lin's farm. Of course, there were 4 other partners. But the scene of the monitoring at that time, the conclusion drawn, was clearly that the farm owned by Su Lin was a farm with magical powers. Logically speaking, it is impossible for Su Lin to leave the farm and come out. His ability, or his superpower, is the farm. But why can he become a giant? Question mark? What's going on? Su Lin raised his eyebrows. I mean isn't your superpower the farm? How can you become a giant again? Who told you my superpower is the farm? Hey. Su Lin smiled and looked up and down at this ironclad fool. Since he was misunderstood as a superpower and a farm superpower, he might as well interfere, isn't it? Lin Hao gritted his teeth. He really couldn't stand it. Su Lin's calm smile seemed like he was playing with him. Lin Hao's mouth twitched, and after a few deep breaths, he reluctantly calmed down. By the way, we have no grudges against you. By doing this, aren't you declaring war on our superpower alliance? How dare you say that? Could it be that your Keidang Sheng hasn't come back yet? He may have died on the road due to excessive blood loss. Keidang Sheng? How do you know him? I only know that his hand was cut off by someone. Could it be you? But he was clearly going to the Thunder Eagle Kingdom. Sorry, I just happened to be there. How is it possible? Lin Hao couldn't help but widen his eyes. He thought of something unreasonable. That is, the Chaoshu city where the Thunder Eagle Kingdom is located is so far away from Orange County. And Keidang Sheng just came back more than an hour ago. And what about Su Lin? It took more than an hour to get here. Question mark? Even taking a plane is not so fast. I'm afraid it's not. After thinking of a certain possibility, Lin Hao subconsciously took a half step back. This Su Lin is unfathomable. What exactly is his superpower? Question mark? It's just such a coincidence. Su Lin shrugged and looked at Lin Hao with a cold look. I don't even know your name yet. Lin Hao. Lin Hao, right? I'm so sorry that Keidang Sheng has already told me and the Thunder King everything about your superpower alliance. Whether it's the reason for your creation, the purpose, or even the trouble you're going to cause me next, you told me. So why did you say I came here? And you said we have no grudges? I just arrived here and I was greeted by your rocket launchers. If I hadn't reacted quickly, the grass on my grave would have started to grow. So don't always think that you are standing on the highest moral point, okay? Su Lin rolled his eyes. Oh, whatever. Lin Hao sneered and took a deep breath. We do have our eyes on your farm. Su Lin, don't talk nonsense. Give it to you, your farm. After that, Lin Hao waved his hand directly. Green flames rushed out of his hand, hitting Su Lin. My will-o'-the-wisp can burn everything. I don't care what those ghost things that are constantly spinning around you are. Sure enough, wherever this ball of green flame passed, wisps of steam were rippled, as if even the air was evaporated and burned. Su Lin raised his eyebrows and stood there motionless. Bang! What Su Lin didn't expect was that the nut shield that could withstand the hail of bullets was actually broken into pieces. Although it was immediately reassembled into a new nut shield after it turned into pieces. But Lin Hao's ability still surprised Su Lin slightly. But Lin Hao should be more shocked. He was stunned. How is it possible that my will-o'-the-wisp can even burn the air? Will-o'-the-wisp? Su Lin raised his eyebrows. It's easy to get it. Hey. Now the only material needed is a will-o'-the-wisp. He was worried about how to find the so-called will-o'-the-wisp. He couldn't go to the cemetery to dance and make the ghosts angry and make a will-o'-the-wisp. Lin Hao, this place is not suitable for long. I wanted to slip away, but I like you. Su Lin grinned, his eyes glowing green. It seems that he wants to swallow Lin Hao alive. Look at your mother. Lin Hao shuddered, firstly because Su Lin's superpower is really changeable. Secondly, it is because of Su Lin's green eyes. They are all grown men. What does this look mean? All of you come. Kill Su Lin. Take his farm. Many superpowers attacked one after another. Su Lin was not stupid either. He waved his hand directly and aimed at the many superpowers in front of him. In the palm of his hand, a surging energy burst out directly and attacked. It was the plant possession ability of the mistletoe ice fairy. At this time, Su Lin seemed to have changed into a different person. His whole body became transparent. Even his pupils turned light blue. Layers of snowflakes floated around. It was also an ice plant. If it was frozen lettuce, Su Lin was worried that it would freeze everything in the world right away, and there would be no ability to continue fighting. For the superpowers, we must not take it lightly. Perhaps it would be better to replace it with the mistletoe ice fairy who has the ability to continue fighting. Control the power of extreme coldness in the world, and form an additional ice shield that lasts for 15 minutes. When the surging ice whizzed past and was about to swallow the superpower in front of him, Lin Hao directly used his proud will-o'-the-wisp to fight back. He stretched out his hands and summoned a green sea of fire, ice and fire, but it only lasted for a while. The energy of the ice was obviously more powerful and gradually took the advantage, gradually freezing the raging green flames. What are you doing? Help. Lin Hao gritted his teeth and shouted. Yes. The superpowers next to him hurried to help. Unexpectedly, there were two superpowers who used fire. 3 balls of blazing flames wrapped around the ice. Chapter 179 Killing one by one. Su Lin raised his eyebrows. He could only barely resist such a fire attack when he tried his best. It seems that Su Lin sneered and muttered to himself, anyway, it's almost the same ability, you won't find it. Taking advantage of the stalemate, the other psychics also took the opportunity to attack from the other side and directly attack. But just as they took a step forward, they all turned into ice sculptures, frozen for 9 days. Su Lin took the opportunity to use the plant possession ability of frozen lettuce. This ability is similar to the effect of his energy being big move. Because Su Lin was too far away from the farm, the area he could freeze was only around it. But this was enough. Except for the 3 psychics using fire, including Lin Hao, they were basically all frozen. However, there were still 2 other psychics who evaporated directly when the frost attached to them. Maybe their abilities could withstand such frozen for 9 days. How is it possible? Lin Hao himself was stunned. There are too many things to be amazed at. Whether it is the various abilities displayed by Su Lin, or his ghost fire that has been unable to burn Su Lin's ice. In addition, Su Lin alone has suppressed many psychics. After using 9 days of ice freezing to temporarily freeze most of the psychics, Su Lin also breathed a sigh of relief. At least he can concentrate on dealing with the psychics in front of him. You hold on. Lin Hao said fiercely, signaling the other 2 fire psychics to fire at full power and withstand Su Lin's attack. I will melt the ice on my friends first. As soon as the voice fell, Lin Hao took action, waved his hand, and released the green flame again. But this time, it was towards his friends. Visible to the naked eye, the ice sculpture is melting rapidly. If this continues, 9 days of ice freezing will be used in vain. However, the power to resist Su Lin was much less, and what it brought was naturally that Su Lin gritted his teeth, and the moment his veins bulged, a large piece of ice directly hit the 2 fire psychics. They fell to the ground, dying. Lin Hao, be careful. The other 2 psychics who were not frozen rushed to Lin Hao in one step. By the way, your abilities can offset any elemental attack. Be my shield. I will save other partners. I was just ambushed. There is still a chance. Su Lin raised his eyebrows and quickly understood what offset any elemental attack meant. No matter how Su Lin attacked, his ice was directly evaporated the moment it touched the 2 psychics. The 2 were also very smart and knew their own shields. They firmly protected Lin Hao. This gave Lin Hao a gap to use his Wisp of the Ghost to continuously melt the ice on his partners. Su Lin sneered. For a moment, he didn't know whether Lin Hao looked down on him. Although the Ice Fairy's ability to control ice is not as explosive as that of the frozen lettuce, the Ice Fairy's ultimate move is to freeze without saying anything. The Ice Fairy's advantage is endurance. Its sustained combat capability and the power it can unleash during the duration are not comparable to that of the frozen lettuce. Previously, there were 3 flame psychics, among whom there was the so-called Wisp of the Ghost. They were barely on par with Su Lin. Now, after dealing with 2 ordinary flame psychics, there is only 1 flame psychic left, Lin Hao. The balance has gradually tilted towards Su Lin. After taking a deep breath, Su Lin stared at the 2 defensive psychics in front of him. Lin Hao, your biggest mistake should be to underestimate my fighting style. As soon as the voice fell, Su Lin reached out with his left hand and fired 2 shots at the 2 psychics. Bang! Direct headshot. The 2 superpowers stared with their pupils wide open, not daring to believe that their lives were gone just like that. Guns and bullets. What kind of elemental attack is this? These 2 superpowers may be invincible to other superpowers. Even if they were facing Lin Hao who had Wisp of the Devil, just standing there and letting Lin Hao attack could constantly offset his offensive and exhaust Lin Hao to death. If there is any fatal flaw in this superpower, don't even think about it. Just go up and punch them to death. Fists are not so-called elemental attacks, but Su Lin is different. Su Lin has a gun. Lin Hao was also frightened by the 2 gunshots. He stared blankly at the 2 bodies in front of him that were gradually getting cold. Su Lin, you fucking have a gun. Lin Hao roared angrily. At the same time, a raging flame was rippling on his body. I didn't intend to use this move. If I hurt 1000 enemies, I will lose 800 of my own. Lin Hao, standing in the burning green fireball, was filled with a kind of ruthlessness that was difficult to describe in words. He glared at Su Lin. Do you know how rare the superpowers of these 2 people are? In the next era, ordinary people are just piles of shit. Just walking shit. The next world must be the world of superpowers. And their superpowers are perfect for dealing with superpowers. Those who obey me will prosper, and those who disobey me will perish. Don't you understand this truth? As Lin Hao's anger soared to the sky, gradually, his blazing flames melted the ice on the people around him one by one. Once melted, these flames seemed to have eyes and directly bypassed these people. The superpowers who were successfully freed also wisely left the sea of fire in a hurry to avoid getting burned. Let's not talk about anything else. Do you know how much we paid to win over these 2 people? Now you actually killed them in such a primitive and crude way, huh? Shoot me now. Satisfy you. Su Lin sneered. He had never seen such a perverted request. Since he asked like that, he would not be polite. Bang. Su Lin fired directly. But he never thought that the bullet would be burned directly in the air as it flew over. Even the flames could not touch it. Su Lin slowly put down the gun. He knew that he had to make a quick decision. As far as he could feel, the air around him seemed to be burned and evaporated. Even if he was possessed by the Ice Fairy, he felt a slight heat. Lin Hao, the game is over. After saying that, Su Lin raised his right hand. His right hand directly turned into a small machine gun, just like the pea shooter, but it was blue and white. It was the possessed power of the ice shooter. Boom. Puff. Countless ice cones poured from Su Lin's right-hand machine gun towards Lin Hao. At the same time, it also announced his death. Chapter 180, Plunder, Will-O-Wisp. The ice shooter's plant possession ability is very similar to the pea shooter. Both change the shape of Su Lin's wrist, turning it into a machine gun. Bullets were ejected from the muzzle. The difference between the ice shooter and the ice shooter is that all the bullets it fired are ice cones. Once it hits the enemy, it can form a thin layer of ice on his body, thus restricting his movements to a certain extent, and slowing his movements. The duration is 15 minutes. When the first ice cone was fired, it was evaporated by the high temperature as soon as it touched the blazing flames. But Su Lin had a machine gun in his hand. It was a burst of bangs. He held the ice machine gun tightly and fired at Lin Hao crazily. No matter how blazing the flames Lin Hao burst out were, they could not withstand Su Lin's hail of bullets. After firing nearly 100 ice cone bullets in succession, finally, an ice cone bullet touched Lin Hao and made a puff. The ice cone pierced directly into Lin Hao's body, and a mouthful of old blood spurted out. Lin Hao had to retreat repeatedly to offset such an attack. Just when he was about to fight back, he was surprised to find that his movements were extremely slow. He looked at his body in surprise. Although the strangeness on his body disappeared quickly under the burning of the ghost fire, he still saw that a thin layer of ice appeared on his body. How is this possible? Before Lin Hao finished being surprised, one after another, ice cone bullets poured over, directly teaching Lin Hao how to be a man. After the continuous ice cone bullets caused damage to Lin Hao, they all turned into extreme cold energy and directly swallowed Lin Hao. The superpowers on the side had just pulled themselves out of the state of ice sculptures and had no idea what was going on. Su Lin seized this opportunity and rushed up with a brisk step. While he was sprinting, he continued to suppress and attack Lin Hao. At the same time, he stretched out his left hand and released the icy energy, teaching a lesson to those psychics who dared to attack. But obviously, the Ice Fairy's ability was not as direct as the frozen lettuce. After enduring the Ice Fairy's icy ability, the psychics still had the strength to fight. However, it was too late. Su Lin had already come to Lin Hao in one step. Lin Hao was really unlucky. Indeed, his ghost fire ability was a unique one among the fire abilities. But who told him to meet Su Lin? Su Lin had 3 types of icy abilities. The Icy Lettuce with the strongest freezing ability, the Ice Fairy with continuous combat ability, and the most unreasonable Icy Shooter with single target attack ability. Every profession has its own specialty, and there is no strongest one, only stronger. At this time, under Su Lin's continuous and uninterrupted suppression, even though Lin Hao had the ghost fire, half of his body was frozen. Su Lin, what on earth do you want to do? Seeing Su Lin's ferocious appearance, Lin Hao panicked. What? Su Lin sneered. Of course. After that, Su Lin stretched out his left hand and pressed it directly on Lin Hao's head. Although he didn't know how to collect such materials specifically, but his intuition told him that he only needed to put his hand on Lin Hao to complete it smoothly. Sure enough, when Su Lin's hand was placed on Lin Hao's head, it didn't take a moment. Lin Hao twitched and moved, as if his soul was grabbed by something. And Su Lin also felt that his right hand had a strong attraction, absorbing the vitality of Lin Hao. If Su Lin went to find trouble with Lei Tao last time to obtain lightning, and obtained lightning at the moment of Lei Tao's attack, then this time, Su Lin had a feeling that it would cost a great price to obtain Wisp of the Ghost. Of course, this price was paid by Lin Hao. Ding, congratulations on getting the Wisp of the Ghost. Finally getting the Ghost of the Ghost. Su Lin also let go, and Lin Hao seemed to be squeezed dry, showing an extremely tired expression. At the same time, the blazing flames around him gradually evaporated. Su Lin, what did you do to me? Lin Hao was so weak that why do I feel that I can't use any strength? What the hell did you do to me? My superpower. Lin Hao struggled painfully, trying to use his superpowers from his body, but was surprised to find that the surging energy before disappeared and disappeared. I don't have superpowers anymore. I've become an ordinary person. Su Lin, what the hell did you do to me? In anger, Lin Hao raised his fist and prepared to hit Su Lin. But Lin Hao was no longer the arrogant ghost of the ghost, and Su Lin also quickly took out the man-eating shark and chopped it mercilessly. Lin Hao's wrist was cut off directly. My hand. My superpower. Just when Su Lin was about to kill Lin Hao in one go, a dark shadow swept over from the side. Su Lin had to temporarily retreat, and at the same time, saw these dark shadows. It turned out to be more than a dozen flying knives. Seeing that they had lost their target, these flying knives turned around and caught up with Su Lin. The superpower to control flying knives? Su Lin frowned. He raised his right hand and fired an ice cone bullet neg. One shot passed. But he never thought that an ice cone bullet only knocked down 2 or 3 flying knives and then pierced the flying knives that followed. And the previous flying knives, before they had even landed, were controlled by the superpower again, following the flying knife troops, and stabbed Su Lin. Su Lin raised his eyebrows, but he did not panic, and shook his left hand, releasing the ice wall, as if it was going with the flow. Encountering the ice wall, the flying knives had no other options. They were determined not to turn back until they hit the wall. After hitting the ice wall, all of them stopped firing and stuck into it one by one. Seeing this, the psychic controlled the flying knives to withdraw one by one, bypassing the ice wall, leaping over from another direction, and attacking Su Lin again. Now Su Lin has to face more than just these annoying flying knives. Lin Hao tried his best and used a powerful ghost fire offensive to thaw the many psychics present. Not only that, the psychics not far away also rushed over one by one. Su Lin is about to face the siege of many psychics. Damn it. You all have to be careful. Under the cover of several psychics, Lin Hao has arrived at a safe area. He endured the pain of losing his wrist and commanded viciously. Don't get too close to Su Lin. He has the ability to deprive you of your superpowers. Chapter 181 Preparing to Escape. Then, Lin Hao gritted his teeth. Tear him into pieces. Fuck. Lin Hao glared at Su Lin. He really wanted to tear Su Lin into pieces. Being ravaged by Su Lin was fine. Even the wisp of the ghost ability that he was proud of was taken away by Su Lin. Even if his wrist was cut off, it was not the most annoying thing for Lin Hao. It was that he lost his ability and became the ordinary person that he hated the most in his mouth. This was the thing he could not accept the most. In his rage, Lin Hao wanted to pull out Su Lin's tendons and gnaw his bones right now. Of course, Su Lin naturally did not have the ability to deprive him of his ability. This could only be said to be a coincidence. The vegetables he needed contained Wisp of the Ghost. It just so happened that Lin Hao's ability was Wisp of the Ghost. And he just went with the flow, borrowed the ability of the system, and directly took the Wisp of the Ghost for himself, and turned it into his own material. But Su Lin is indeed in trouble now. These superpowers really can't be underestimated. He had to use the ice power of the Ice Fairy in his left hand to resist the attacks of the superpowers again and again. At the same time, he used the ice cone bullets of the ice shooter in his right hand to fight back. Fortunately, he still had a rotating and floating nut shield on his body. Even if the superpowers broke through the ice wall, he still had the nut shield to continue to protect Su Lin. Under the continuous attacks of the superpowers, such as thunder, water, swamps, monsters, strange powers, and even superpowers, Su Lin had to retreat again and again. However, the strength he showed was enough to shock the superpowers. Just relying on his own strength to resist for so long is enough to make people feel awe. Not to mention, when he meets a superpower with the same ice superpower. Su Lin fired a few ice cone bullets and shattered the superpower's ice. The same ice ability, but the difference is so big. Same ability, different fate. After taking a step back, Su Lin quickly slipped to the ruins next to him. The nut shield that was circling around him was also shattered several times. Its size began to shrink. Not to mention the physical exhaustion brought by such a high-intensity combat state. Su Lin began to breathe heavily while planning the next step. Of course, he would run away. What nonsense. He knew that he could not annihilate so many superpowers alone. This trip was at most to show his power and destroy their arrogant prestige. It is better to say that Su Lin must consider retreating. Counting the plant possession used once when he came here at the beginning, he used it 3 more times during the battle. Then Su Lin now only has 1 chance to use plant possession. If Su Lin can use plant possession unlimited times, then what's wrong with another superpower alliance? Take a deep breath. The time of the ice fairy is up, and it will be the turn of the ice archer in a while. If he continues to dawdle like this, I'm afraid Su Lin will have to die here. Just when Su Lin was planning how to retreat safely, a figure flashed by and suddenly appeared behind him. Silently, as if there had never been such a person before. Su Lin got a glimpse and understood. This person. I'm afraid he is using the invisibility ability. He actually appeared directly from nowhere, and there was no fluctuation in the air around him. It was too late to turn around and fight back. Fortunately he still had a nut shield. And just when Su Lin was thinking about this, the invisible person had already stabbed the dagger in his hand straight in. It was a dagger emitting a faint dark green light. With a snap, Su Lin did not expect that his nut shield would be pierced directly by this small dagger. Su Lin, go to hell. My dagger is indestructible. With a pop. Feeling the moment when the nut shield was shattered, Su Lin did not delay any longer and quickly took the opportunity to turn around and barely avoided this fatal blow. However, the dagger had already pierced directly into Su Lin's waist and abdomen, and blood splattered everywhere. Su Lin, who was in pain, turned around and elbowed past, hitting the superpower heavily on the head. Su Lin's strength was so great that the superpower instantly loosened his hands and even couldn't hold the dagger. While the superpower fell into a coma, Su Lin quickly took out the dagger and threw it aside. While stumbling, Su Lin also retreated again and again. Inadvertently, he half-sticked out of the ruins and immediately attracted the firepower of many superpowers. Damn it. Su Lin narrowed his eyes. Although he was still protected by the nut shield, he also concentrated all his mental attention and dodged the continuous attacks one by one. Now is not the time to joke. If he continues like this, Su Lin raised his hand and fired a burst of ice cone bullets, repelling another attacking mutant. He took a deep breath, exerted force on his waist, abdomen, and knees, and ran away directly. Damn it. Lin Hao, who was commanding from the back, immediately cursed. Chase him. He wants to run. Of course Su Lin wanted to run, but he ran with his brain. When he turned and passed a building, a thunderbolt fell from the sky. Today, he used the last giant power on the armored giant. Although the armor on his body made him less agile, but the armor on his body is the most reassuring existence. What Su Lin didn't expect was that after transforming into a giant, the ability of plant possession was still there. Even the nut shield wrapped around his body became much bigger. Not to mention the ice machine gun in his right hand that could still last for a few more minutes. Why is there another giant? This confusion spread to all the psychics who were chasing him. But at this time, they could also bite the bullet and go. They felt that someone was chasing them from behind. The armored titan took back his right hand without looking back and fired. Ice cone bullets. No, it should be ice cone shells. The huge shells smashed directly up. Although the psychic dodged quickly, the building behind him was unlucky. After being hit directly by the ice cone shells, it rumbled and turned into ruins and fell down. Be careful. After the size has increased, he is stronger. Seeing the pursuer reminding him like this, Su Lin also smiled helplessly. I didn't know it would be like this, but it's not bad. Hey, then the next step is for the armored titan at this time. This road is extremely straight. No matter how tall the buildings were on the road, he would just use his strong body to crash into them. However, the direction he ran in was the opposite direction of the way he came. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 182 Successful Escape. Go, go, go. Don't let him escape. As his body became bigger, he naturally became a sitting duck. He didn't even have to worry about losing Su Lin. The attacks of the psychics could hit Su Lin more accurately. Damn it, I threw all my best moves, but I couldn't break the giant's legs. Yeah, I'm almost dying of exhaustion. Why is this giant still standing? Despair and confusion gradually began. Although Su Lin himself was not having a good time after resisting so many attacks, even the armored titan with extremely strong defensive capabilities was a little overwhelmed. But his goal was about to be achieved. The psychics who were chasing him were all attracted by him and gathered in the north. And this was exactly his goal. When he came from the south. As it should be. The sunlight teleportation array was also set in that direction. If he went directly to the teleportation array, he would most likely be ambushed by these psychics. It would be better to attract them by the power of the giant, and then take the opportunity to slip away, and return to the teleportation array. The corner of his mouth grinned. The armored giant disappeared in an instant. Su Lin, who turned back into a human, did not hesitate to use the last plant possession ability on the reed fighter. There is no time to waste at this time. Although he can also slowly slip to the south under the cover of houses and buildings. But Su Lin took a deep breath. There must be a superpower with similar monitoring or radar abilities in the superpower alliance. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to be discovered when he came to the surrounding area quietly and then be greeted by rocket launchers. Su Lin is not stupid, so don't save money at this time. It's still important to save your life. Thinking of this, he turned into a fighter and jumped over and flew over from the other side. Its speed is so fast that ordinary superpowers can't detect it at all. The only thing they know is, how can a huge monster suddenly disappear like this? Question mark? Damn it. Where's the person? Find him out. Lin Hao cursed. The bleeding on his wrist had stopped. But this huge alliance of superpowers didn't even have a superpower who could heal. Broken arms and hands. He could only take care of himself. He should have rested, but he couldn't swallow this breath. He just wanted to capture Su Lin alive and cut him into pieces. He had already gritted his teeth and chased him here. But in the blink of an eye, the huge figure disappeared. Question mark? What on earth happened? Question mark? Disappeared out of thin air. Question mark? How could such a thing happen? Question mark? Lin Hao really couldn't figure it out. He had to give a vicious order to let the other superpowers start searching. Even if they had to dig 3 feet into the ground, they had to find Su Lin. Find him for me. He must have turned back to our size, and he must be hiding in the house next to him. What's going on? These superpowers can't find Su Lin. He didn't hide in the house at all. He had already turned into a fighter plane, soaring into the sky, and flew to the south of Orange County from the other side. That is, the direction that they could not find. Su Lin, who had a speed close to that of a shockwave, flew across half of Orange County in the blink of an eye. As expected, he was discovered by the superpower who had been hiding in the dark room and had a similar radar superpower. This superpower also noticed the intruder early. At the same time, he was also regretting that he was not doing his best. He vaguely felt that Su Lin was the one who approached rapidly in the air just now. In order to resist this sudden intruder, he directly fired several rocket launchers. These rocket launchers are also a kind of his superpower, and the name of the superpower is Radar Rocket Launcher. But out of confidence in his own strength, after a successful attack, he did not check whether he successfully shot down the intruder. Instead, he began to be proud and confident. So he missed the good opportunity to eliminate Su Lin at the first time. Now, in order to make up for his mistake, he paid extra attention and looked at the radar indicator on the screen carefully, trying to find Su Lin's trace. In the end, he was found. He suppressed the shock in his heart and the joy of discovery and immediately informed Lin Hao. Lin Hao, that Su Lin ran to the southern suburbs. South. How is it possible? It's about 10 kilometers away from you. How is it possible? He was here just now. I don't know. Anyway, he is still moving. What the hell is going on? This time, Lin Hao was really confused. He was still here just now, and he looked like a giant. How come he ran to a place 10 kilometers away from here in the blink of an eye? Question mark? I'm afraid that Su Lin's ability is high speed movement. Question mark? No, whether it's the giantization, the ice ability, and the invincible shield. Now there is an additional super high speed movement, not to mention his base camp, which is full of plants with various magical abilities. Could it be? Lin Hao swallowed his saliva. He thought of a possibility. A legend that has been circulating in their alliance of superpowers. Now that superpowers who can use various powers have appeared, will there be masters with 2 or more superpowers? Question mark. Perhaps Su Lin, who Lin Hao wanted to tear in half on the spot, is such a powerful master with multiple superpowers. Chase. Chase. We have all been fooled by him. What a good trick. Su Lin is in the south. Go there quickly. If Su Lin knew that Lin Hao saw himself like this, a top master with multiple superpowers, I'm afraid that Su Lin would die of laughter on the spot. He is not a superpower at all. He just has a system of plants versus zombies. With this system, he can continue to survive in this cruel doomsday. At this time, Su Lin has also come to the location where the sunlight teleportation array was placed before. Once this teleportation array is placed, it is extremely concealed. It can even be said to be invisible. Unless Su Lin comes in front of it, he will never appear. The safety factor can be said to be very high. Su Lin also endured the pain in his abdomen, and after consuming a large amount of sunlight points, he teleported directly back to the location of the surviving farm. A patchwork of light. After returning to his warm nest again, Su Lin did not cancel the planned possession effect of the reed fighter. He immediately flew towards Chunfeng City. His abdomen, where the dagger stabbed, was still bleeding. Not to mention the scattered wounds on his body. Chapter 183, Shooting Yourself in the Foot. Su Lin felt that the dagger was poisonous. Otherwise, there would be no reason for him to feel so tired. But he knew that he had to persist. Persist until he reached the glory of humanity. There was Dr. Li Da, and just after Su Lin successfully escaped, Orange County was in an uproar. Many superpowers finally arrived at the location mentioned by the superpower with the radar rocket launcher ability. But they got his reply mixed with apology and surprise. No, it's impossible. Impossible. No matter how fast Su Lin is, it's impossible to disappear from my radar in the blink of an eye. What's going on? Lin Hao cursed. A group of people finally chased here, but they got the reply of lost. How can this be tolerated? Lost is like disappearing out of thin air. Su Lin disappeared directly. You mean, he can move instantly like Sheng? Lin Hao's pupils widened. He was surprised just now. It was not long after Sheng came back, but Su Lin came to him. Is it really that fast? Question mark. So what is Su Lin's ability? Question mark. Could it be that he is really a master with multiple abilities as he guessed? Damn it. Lin Hao gritted his teeth. Although he lost one hand, this is not the most annoying thing for him. The most unacceptable thing for him is naturally the disappearance of his ghost fire ability. Until now, he has not dared to tell the psychics next to him who he called partners. The Psychic Alliance can gather so many psychics. First, it is because of the advanced concept. Second, it is the existence of its 5 founders. Lin Hao and his 4 friends at the same time gain superpowers because of eating mutant food. The appearance of psychics is already very rare. Not to mention, these 5 people are all friends. This is the probability of winning the lottery for 5 consecutive days. But it really happened to Lin Hao and his friends. Without further ado, they hit it off. The 5 of them immediately discussed to do something big. Coincidentally, among these 5 people with special abilities, there is one who can solve the most scarce food and drinking water problems. At least the foundation for creating an organization is there. Obviously, Lin Hao belongs to the fighting faction. Many of those who succumbed to the Special Ability Alliance were directly subdued by Lin Hao. Now, if other people knew that Lin Hao no longer had special abilities, I'm afraid that the world would change. Lin Hao gritted his teeth. Now, the other 4 founders are not in Orange County. No matter what, Lin Hao has to hold the scene alone, at least until the other 4 come back. Thinking of this, Lin Hao immediately showed a faint disappointment. He looked at the many people with special abilities around him. Honestly, I'm very disappointed in you. Dealing with one person, not only did we suffer heavy casualties, but we also killed several psychics, not to mention that he escaped. But it's not your fault. After all, Su Lin is so mysterious that even I'm not his opponent. No. Lin Hao shook his head. He was indeed not Su Lin's opponent, but he couldn't show it in front of this group of people. If it was a one-on-one fight, I wouldn't have lost to Su Lin if I didn't have to worry so much. In short, I hope you will reflect on it carefully, whether it is the response speed to deal with external enemies or the coordination in the battle. Of course, these still require us to make more detailed institutional regulations and combat plan arrangements. I will go back to organize the information and wait until the others come back. After that, Lin Hao waved his broken arm and left without giving everyone time to react, leaving behind a group of psychics who were somewhat puzzled and staring blankly. After hearing what Lord Lin Hao said, we seem to be really weak. Yes, but didn't Lord Lin Hao just say that Su Lin can devour superpowers? Oh, really? Yes. Didn't you notice that Lin Hao didn't use his ghost fire much in the end? Isn't it because he used his strongest killer move to save us from the ice sculpture? Maybe he was temporarily injured. Maybe. Obviously, Lin Hao's speech directly led to a certain possibility that everyone should think about. In this way, he can really support the return of the other 4 founders, that is, his friends. What a pity. Even Lin Hao himself didn't expect it. When the 4 people came back, there was another bloody storm. Lin Hao? No such person. Friendship? In the face of absolute interests, or in other words, in the face of the rules they set, ordinary people have only one way to die. After confirming that Lin Hao could no longer use the wisp of the ghost, he was directly expelled from the alliance of superpowers. It was the friends he silently expected and relied on in his heart who made such a decision. This can also be said to be extremely ironic. How much Lin Hao hated the so-called ordinary people at that time, and now he is asking for trouble. After all, ugly people are more likely to do bad things. In the end, he moved a stone and hit his own foot. Of course. This is what happened later. As for the treatment of Su Lin, after consultation with the remaining 4 founders. After all, Lin Hao had already told all the information he knew about Su Lin. After strict consultation, they took a later account for Su Lin. I'm afraid that, if we gather all the troops now, and go to trouble Su Lin, it will only bring trouble to ourselves in the end. He is alone, and the entire alliance of superpowers has no way to keep him. His strength is obvious. It is better to continue recruiting troops. At least we must find a superpower who specializes in superpowers. If Su Lin knew what they were thinking, he would have laughed to death on the spot. But now Su Lin was enduring the severe pain caused by the treatment. I'm talking to you. Is it because you know that there is a miracle doctor like me here that you want to ruin your body? Dr. Li Da complained helplessly while performing the treatment. His tone was full of concern and helplessness. That's not right. Su Lin had just received treatment here a while ago, and now he is injured again. As a doctor, Li Da doesn't need Su Lin to help him boost his performance. Of course, he still hopes that Su Lin can come here less often. This also means that Su Lin is safe and sound and has not been hurt. There's nothing we can do about it. Su Lin shrugged helplessly. Chapter 184 Fusion Materials. I also say that I'm a beauty who brings disaster. Su Lin rolled his eyes. You? Li Da rolled his eyes. A grown man. What is the beauty who brings disaster? That's not right. You know about my farm. Su Lin sighed helplessly. At the same time, he looked at his waist. After being treated by Li Da using his supernatural power, not only did he stop bleeding successfully, but even his wounds have been completely healed. Not to mention the scattered wounds on his body. The whole person, that is called comfortable. I know, so what's the matter? Because of this farm, I'm the beauty, although I took the initiative to cause trouble for them. Haha. Then, Su Lin also told Li Da about the supernatural alliance in general. Wait until Liang Crossing comes back, then you can talk to her and tell her to be careful. I'm leaving first. Oh. Li Da was surprised for a moment. Why don't you wait for her? She's almost back. No. Su Lin waved his hand. It's getting late. I have to go back. Okay, don't worry. I'll definitely talk to Liang Crossing when she comes back. Li Da nodded seriously. By the way, Li Da frowned. Last time, didn't we just talk about the world of giant insects? How come there's an alliance of superpowers now? I don't know either. Su Lin shrugged. After all, the world has changed a long time ago, hasn't it? Hahaha, that's right. Let's go. See you next time. I hope you'll come to find Liang Crossing next time, not me. Looking at Su Lin's back as he left, Li Dao also waved at him. After leaving the base camp of human glory, Su Lin also rode his off-road motorcycle in a hurry and rushed back to the survival farm. There are still many things to do. After returning to the survivor farm, his companions had finished their dinner early. After seeing Su Lin finally come back, everyone started to get busy. On the one hand, they were concerned about why Su Lin came back so late and whether he was injured. At the same time, they also started to prepare a hot dinner for Su Lin. After finding a random excuse to fool them, Su Lin also quietly gathered all the men in the farm. He just wanted to explain what to be careful about in the future. Su Lin was also worried that the superpower alliance would come up to cause trouble in the future. If Su Lin was in the farm, he would have his own way to control the plants to fight back. What if he was not there? I'm afraid that we can only rely on these big men to delay time. After listening to what Su Lin said, Director Liu immediately patted his chest. He said carelessly, "Don't worry, with us here, you can go out boldly and confidently. We will definitely protect this place." Ha ha ha, then I'm relieved. Looking at the determination in the eyes of these big men in front of him, Su Lin was relieved. Then, he continued to work. He worked on the materials in his hands, integrating them one by one to create a new plant system. Plants vs. Zombies level, Farm LV22, Plants, Sunflower X40, Pea Shooter X5, Sunshine Points. 789, Planting Land. 45 Defense Value. 500 over 500, Experience Value. 1467/2300, Abilities, Extraction, Gold Upgrade, Plant Possession, Battle Gold, Already Unlocked Plants, Sunflower, 2nd Order, Pea Shooter, 4th Order, Vertical Fruit, 3rd Order, Potato Bud, 3rd Order, Cabbage Shooter, 3rd Order, Frozen Lettuce, 3rd Order, Torch Stump, Charm Mushroom, Kiwi, 2nd Order, Boomerang Shooter, Vegetable Question, 2nd Order, Energy Flower, Fire Dragon Grass, 3rd Order, Cherry Bomb, 3rd Order, Steel Ground Spike, 3rd Order, Electric Green Tea, 3rd Order, Corn Pitcher, 3rd Order, Mistletoe Ice Fairy, 2nd Order, Cactus, 3rd Order, Lightning Reed, 3rd Order, Ice Shooter, 4th Order, Pumpkin Wizard, Reed Fighter, Unlocked Blueprints, Two-Way Shooter. Pepper Pitcher, Original Sunflower, Item, Universal Material, Skill, Giant's Power, Gold Coins. 3010, maybe the teleportation distance is too far. The sunlight points consumed for one teleportation are sky high. However, because Su Lin fought so hard, he also obtained a considerable amount of gold coins through the ability Battle Gold Coins. Su Lin thought that the reason why this system came up with such a battle gold coin was to encourage Su Lin to fight more and cause more trouble. But it doesn't matter. More gold coins mean more high level plants. Su Lin is even happier like this. Pepper plus Cabbage Pitcher plus Will-o'-the-Wisp equals Pepper Pitcher. 2 Pea Shooters plus Two-Headed Dragon equals Two-Way Shooter. A lot of money plus the largest mirror equals Prism Grass. Sunflower plus Dinosaur equals Original Sunflower. Pepper has been obtained from Shenzhen. Now all I need to do is plant another Cabbage Pitcher. Plant it right away. Ding, congratulations on the collection of materials and the acquisition of Pepper Pitcher. Continue. Su Lin directly planted 2 Pea Shooters, plus the corpse of the Two-Headed Dragon in the space pocket. In this way, ding, congratulations on the collection of materials and the acquisition of Two-Headed Shooter. Then there is a so-called large amount of money and the largest mirror. These are also plants that have been obtained long ago. Ding, congratulations on the collection of materials and the acquisition of Prism Grass. Finally, there is the original Sunflower. Dinosaur, the full skeleton of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Ding, congratulations on the collection of materials and the acquisition of original Sunflower. The collection of materials is complete. Directly obtain 4 new plants. Pepper Pitcher, Two-Headed Shooter, Prism Grass, Original Sunflower. Among them, the Two-Headed Shooter can be said to be the most interesting. This is actually an advanced version of the Pea Shooter. The Pea Shooter has only one head, or only one machine gun. and the two-headed shooter, as the name suggests, has two heads and two machine guns. One was aimed at the front, and the other was aimed at the back. Attack from front and back. Plant, two-way shooter. Description: shoot Ps to attack the first target in front and behind, and shoot 1 P in front and 2 Ps in the back each time. Sunlight. 125 damage. 20, front, 20x2, back, cooling time. 5 seconds, quality, white. Yes, I'm a Gemini. I know this is indeed incredible. However, having two heads, or actually, a head and something similar to a head on the back, is very helpful for my defense on this line. The two-way shooter, based on the characteristics of the P shooter, has a wider attack range, even covering the back row. Don't look at the fact that there are no zombies in the back. But Su Lin knows that there will be certain zombies, and they will appear in the back. At that time, only the two-way shooter can resist them. Chapter 185, Many Plants. Then there is the pepper pitcher. The pepper pitcher is actually an upgraded version of the cabbage pitcher. Both are throwing plants. It's just that the things they throw are different. Plant, pepper pitcher. Description: the pepper pitcher throws burning peppers at zombies, which can warm nearby plants, and are immune to freezing effects. Sunlight. 200 damage. 50, direct, /10, splash, cooling time. 20 seconds, attack interval. 3 seconds, quality, blue. Some people say that the pepper pitcher is a bit hot-headed. Some people find his fiery personality off-putting. But the truth is, he is just more focused and persistent. He loves what he does. He is grateful for everything he has. I come from the weed section of the lawn, the pepper pitcher explained. I work hard to put down roots and make myself stand out. I'm a self-reliant pepper, and I don't take anything for granted. The pepper pitcher's attack also carries splash damage. It throws burning bell peppers at zombies, and zombies within a 3*3 range will be damaged. Obviously, whether in terms of attack damage or attack range, it is the big brother of the cabbage pitcher. It's just that the 200 sunlight points are not cheap. One can replace 2. You know, the cabbage pitcher only needs 100 sunlight points. Obviously, the pepper pitcher is not that kind of early stage plant. It can only have a foothold when the defense line is almost laid. Finally, Su Lin also took a deep breath and looked at the prism grass among the plants that can be planted. Prism grass is actually a prism with leaves, just a small mirror. Don't look at this mirror, it seems simple enough, but it is extremely material, extremely luxurious. It is a prodigal sun, a money-burning thing. Plant, prism grass. Description: click to fire a beam to attack the first target in front of you. Each click consumes 50 sunlight. Clicking is invalid when the amount of sunlight is less than 50 sunlight. 50 damage. 550, cooling time. 5 seconds, quality, green. Prism grass knows how to use the infinite energy hidden in the rainbow under his stern face. Driving the colorful radiation and fighting against the zombie army gives him great enjoyment and satisfaction. The attack method of prism grass is actually very simple. It is to allude to the property of prism lenses that can refract sunlight. However, once used, it will consume 50 sunlight energy, which will be gathered and transformed into a powerful pointed beam for attack. Of course, when necessary, finishing the knife can eliminate the enemies invading the front line, which has a certain role in saving the field. More importantly, prism grass is rarely controlled by Su Lin autonomously. Prism grass can exert great potential under conditions of sufficient sunlight, and is a high practical auxiliary attack plant. To put it bluntly, it is a money cannon. Oh, in this case, it should be called a sunlight point cannon. As long as you consume 50 sunlight points, you can attack. Its attack power is also amazing. Directly 550 points of damage. Most zombies can't last too long under such attack power. They will often be defeated in 1 or 2 rounds. Of course, the premise is that there are enough sunlight points to allow the prism grass to spend money like this. This is like a plant at the bottom of the box. In the early stage, don't expect the prism grass to play any role. It is short of sunlight points. Plant, original sunflower. Description: the original sunflower will produce large sunlight, 75 sunlight, instead of medium sunlight, 50 sunlight. 75 production interval. 16 seconds, cooling time. 5 seconds, quality, white. The original sunflower has just come to the sunlight production industry, so please be patient with her. She is an early user of the unlimited buffet restaurant in the sunlight manufacturing industry. The original sunflower is the ancestor of the sunflower that existed in the Jurassic period. It can be said to be an enhanced version of the sunflower. However, the cost is 75 sunlight points. It is 25 more than the 50 points of the sunflower. Although the original sunflower produces more sunlight points than the sunflower. But in the early stage, 25 sunlight points is actually a considerable number. If it is normal, Su Lin will definitely choose the original sunflower. After all, the output is here. But when facing zombies, every second counts, so Su Lin still needs to consider how to choose. Then, Su Lin also glanced at the 4 plants. He also thought deeply about whether to upgrade. In the end, he decided to upgrade the two-way shooter and the pepper pitcher first. His intuition told him that the two-way shooter will play a very important role in the next zombie level. Ding. Congratulations on the successful advancement. Two-way shooter, second level, get Ice P. Ding. Congratulations on the successful advancement. Two-way shooter, third level, get Scorching P. Ding. Congratulations on the successful advancement. Chili pitcher, second level, get Burning. Ding. Congratulations on the successful advancement. Chili pitcher, third level, get Wisp Chili. In addition to the 50% improvement in all attributes brought by each advancement. For the two-way shooter, the Ice P's ability it obtains is just like the literal meaning. The two-way shooter can launch Ice P's, which greatly restricts the actions of zombies and slows down their movements. The shooter who can launch such P's is facing the back. There is a 40% chance that it will launch Ice P's to the back. As for the third level ability of Hot P's, it is the ability obtained in the front. There is a 60% chance that it will launch Hot P's to the front, causing a large amount of damage. He got the third level two-way shooter at once. For the battle situation that may appear next, Su Lin also gained confidence. If nothing unexpected happens in the next series of levels, the two-way shooter will be the ace. The second level ability of the pepper pitcher, Burning, allows the pepper pitcher's attack to ignite zombies and cause continuous damage. And the third level ability, Wild-Dyed Peppers. If the first and second levels are ordinary pepper pitchers, the peppers thrown out are peppers burning with red flames. In the third level state, the pepper pitcher throws out willow the wild peppers burning with blue flames. It can cause even higher amounts of damage. Chapter 186 New type of zombie. System, Plants vs. Zombies level, Farm LV22, Plants, Sunflower X45, Pea Shooter X5, Sunshine Points. 1289, Planting Land. 45 Defense Value. 500 over 500, Experience Value. 1467/2300, Abilities, Extraction, Gold Upgrade, Plant Possession, Battle Gold, Unlocked Plants, Sunflower, 2nd level, Pea Shooter, 4th level, Nuts, 3rd level, Potato Mine, 3rd level, Cabbage Shooter, 3rd level, Frozen Lettuce, 3rd level, Torch Stump, Charm Mushroom, Kiwi, 2nd level, Boomerang Shooter, Vegetable Question, 2nd level, Energy Flower, Fire Dragon Grass, 3rd level, Cherry Bomb, 3rd level, Steel Ground Spike, 3rd level, Electric Green Tea, 3rd level, Corn Pitcher, 3rd level, Mistletoe Ice Fairy, 2nd level, Cactus, 3rd level, Lightning Reed, 3rd level, Ice Shooter, 4th level, Pumpkin Wizard, Reed Fighter, Two-way Shooter, 3rd level, Pepper Shooter, 3rd level, Prism Grass, Original Sunflower, Unlocked Blueprints, Items, Universal Materials, Skills, Giant Power, Gold Coins. 260. Everything is ready, only the east wind is missing. Now, it's just waiting for the zombies tonight. At the same time, this is also the 15th level. According to the previous Urinature, There should be some changes soon. There was a knock at the door. Su Lin took a deep breath. He walked forward and opened the door at the moment, and he also received a prompt from the system. Ding, the 15th level. Zombies are coming. Please be prepared. The number of zombies asterisk 30 ding. Please note that this level is a zero clearing mode. A fixed mode Fixed. Su Lin raised his eyebrows. The system also gave a corresponding explanation. Su Lin also understood. If the limited mode is to limit some plants and cannot be used, then the fixed mode is that only the plants selected by the system can be used. Ding, in this fixed mode, only sunflower, two-way shooter, pea shooter, frozen lettuce, and pumpkin wizard can be planted. Well, it's okay. Anyway, they are all high-level plants. I don't have to worry. Ding, please note that the zombies that appear in the next level may be third-level zombies. Third-level zombies are more powerful than second-level zombies. Please treat them with care. Ding, please pay attention. A new type of zombie is coming. Gold Rush Zombie. Piano Zombie. Sure enough, hey. Su Lin grinned. The appearance of the Gold Rush Zombie made Su Lin feel a little proud. Because the two-way shooter is the natural enemy of the Gold Rush Zombie. The Gold Rush Zombie has a gun barrel on its waist. When the fuse is ignited, it will be blown away and jump to the back. That is, behind the plants. And the two-way shooter can just attack the plants in the back row. Come on, zombies. Su Lin threw his hand and planted the sunflower. There is no doubt about it. But for safety, he moved the entire line forward one square this time. In other words, he planted sunflowers directly in the second row. The first row was left empty. Wait for the arrival of the Gold Rush Zombie. It can also give the two-way shooter time to attack. Soon, when the cooling time of the sunflower was over, Su Lin planted another one. When the zombies appeared, he had planted 3 sunflowers. In the second row of area A, B, and C, an ordinary zombie staggered over. Although it was just an ordinary zombie, it was wearing a set of western cowboy clothes. And its level was faintly visible on its head. A second level zombie. TSK. Su Lin smacked his lips and analyzed. It seems that the zombies in the future will only become stronger. According to the system, the zombies that appear will be randomly from level 1 to level 3. But I don't have to worry. I have a lot of high level plants. Like a big hand, Su Lin directly planted the pea shooter in the 4th row of area B. Unfortunately, the planting skill that Su Lin expected was not triggered. When planting a 4th level plant, there is a certain probability that its skill will be triggered. But this time, it was not triggered. But Su Lin was not discouraged. This was just the most normal thing. All he needed to do was to concentrate on the enemy. After the sunflowers began to produce sunlight points again, Su Lin quickly continued to plant sunflowers. 1 pea shooter in area B is enough to deal with the ordinary zombie. Although the planting skill was not triggered, the attack ability of the 4th level pea shooter is already considerable. Not to mention the pea burst that is triggered from time to time. 2nd level zombie, pea shooter, more than enough. Soon, when the second zombie appeared in area A, Su Lin had already planted 5 sunflowers, and all the land in the second row was planted with sunflowers. Then the next step is that, even if there are still 100 sunlight points in hand, but Su Lin is not in a hurry to continue planting. Instead, he is waiting for the sunflower to produce sunlight points again. Okay, this time it's enough. 150 sunlight points. Ding. The two-way shooter appeared in the 3rd row of area A. When the two-way shooter appeared, the first round of attack launched was the flame pea. Poo sounded. It directly hit the barrel zombie in front of him. The next step is to store enough sunlight points and wait for the appearance of the gold digging zombies. Zombies came one after another. Su Lin also deployed his troops in every possible way. He would plant two-way shooters or pea shooters in the area where the zombies appeared. Which one to plant depends on the sunlight points at that time. At present, the 3rd row of areas A, C, and E are all two-way shooters. And just at this time, the new zombie gold digging zombie also jumped forward. Area B, seeing him jumping like a happy child. But only Su Lin knew what kind of ruffian this gold digging zombie was. Sure enough, it was almost the same as Su Lin expected. When the gold digging zombie appeared, the red gun barrel on its waist began to ignite. When the gold digging zombie came to the 8th row, boom. There was an explosion. The gold digging zombie was not only unscathed, but also took advantage of the shockwave of the explosion to jump up and landed in the 1st row. With an elegant arc, he landed accurately. Su Lin quickly arranged the two-way shooter. The 3rd row of Area B. When the gold digging zombie appeared before, he had been taught a lesson by the pea shooter in the 4th row. As long as the two-way shooter tried hard, he could easily defeat the gold digging zombie. Chapter 187 Gold Rush Zombie. Obviously, no matter how much the pea shooter wanted to continue attacking the gold mining zombie, but under the current situation, there was no way. He couldn't turn around and attack, right? And Su Lin was staring at the gold mining zombie in front of him. The gold mining zombie that jumped to the 1st row didn't pay attention to Su Lin, but turned his head. He continued to stagger in the direction he came from. How long has it been? How long has it been since Su Lin watched a zombie so closely? But before Su Lin finished saying, a layer of frost suddenly appeared on the gold mining zombie. The natural enemy of the gold mining zombie, the two-way shooter, has begun to attack. At this time, several zombies also appeared in Area B. The two-way shooter was busy. He faced the front head and attacked while triggering the flame piece from time to time. His rear head was aimed at the gold mining zombie, and he kept attacking. Perhaps the gold mining zombie would never have thought that his opening show would be so unlucky and helpless. What a joke. With the help of the power of the bomb, he jumped up and wanted to launch a sneak attack from the rear. But he encountered this situation, not to mention that there was no plant after he arrived. After all, in order to welcome the arrival of the Gold Rush zombie, Su Lin specially moved the defense line forward. He started to plant plants from the 2nd row. The purpose was to deal with this gold mining zombie. As a last resort, the gold mining zombie had to take a step forward and stretched out his old hands, but in the end, he fell down. Before he was about to touch the sunflower, he died. Hey, it's barely successful, not bad. Su Lin grinned and quickly planted the two-way shooter in Area D. In this way, there are two-way shooters in all 5 areas. No matter which area the gold mining zombie appears from, Su Lin can deal with it. It's like to verify Su Lin's strength. The gold mining zombies came in groups. In addition to Area E, the other 4 areas have gold rush zombies. Not only the gold digging zombies, but also the flag zombies and the barrel zombies appeared one by one. Amazing. A total of 6 barrel zombies appeared, all of which were level 3. The defense value of the barrel zombies was originally high, and it was difficult to deal with them easily, let alone the level 3 ones. What are you doing? Su Lin rolled his eyes. He had just arranged all the battle lines, and such a strong opponent came. Fortunately, I already have 2 energy beams, otherwise it would be difficult to deal with. At the same time, Su Lin also found that there was something wrong with the gold digging zombie in Area A. There was a layer of light green light on his body, which was really proof that he was carrying energy beams. As long as he was defeated, he could get another energy beam. Boom, 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 boom. 4 explosions. After such an explosion, there was a sky full of gunpowder. There were 4 gold digging zombies. They used the impact of the explosion to come divine soldiers from the sky. They came directly to the 1st row. Su Lin also seized this opportunity and used energy beams directly on the two-way shooter in Area A. Puff, puff, puff. The two-way shooter fired countless peas like a cramp. In front, in the back. Both sides fired peas like a torrential rain, pouring down one by one. The gold digging zombie in Area A was instantly crushed by these peas that attacked like a storm. He handed over the energy beams he was carrying. This gold digging zombie is really unlucky. Maybe his feet haven't even covered the ground to warm them up, and he was crushed to death by the peas. The peas poured out from the front of the two-way shooter also all hit the iron barrel zombie. It just destroyed its iron barrel. Everything was done as ordered. Su Lin did the same thing in Area B and Area C. He used energy beams directly on the two-way shooter. Not only did he kill the gold digging zombie that jumped to the back row in seconds, but he also caused huge damage to the iron barrel zombie in the front row. However, the tenacity of the iron barrel zombies was beyond Su Lin's expectation. Or the strength of the 3rd level zombies was completely beyond Su Lin's imagination. The iron barrel zombie in area D opened its hideous bloody mouth. It came to the 6th row soon. In order to resist his forward steps, Su Lin deliberately sacrificed a head of frozen lettuce. When the iron barrel zombie stepped on the frozen lettuce, it froze instantly. When he broke through the ice, the iron barrel on his head was also destroyed by the peas. It was shaky. However, the iron barrel zombie was still very tenacious and hit the pea shooter in the front with one claw. In a few seconds, the iron barrel zombie directly broke the pea shooter's head before dying. Although it eventually died under the attack of the two-way shooter standing behind the pea shooter, this iron barrel zombie was already proud enough. After all, it directly knocked down a plant. Sure enough, Su Lin shook his head with some regret. This is a consequence of extending the front line. If you plant sunflowers in the first row, this barrel zombie won't be able to hold on here. But there is no other way. You must beware of the gold digging zombies. Su Lin shrugged and planted the pea shooter again. Unexpectedly, this time the pea shooter also triggered the planting big move. The moment it broke out of the ground, a burst of thumps passed by. It's just that I fought alone. Because the next round of zombies haven't appeared yet. If this is not loneliness, what is it? Su Lin twitched his mouth while strengthening the front line. In this mode, you can also plant another plant. It just so happens that the sunlight points are now sufficient. Then the next round of zombies will attack. The first to bear the brunt is the gold digging zombie. Su Lin directly planted the pumpkin wizard in the area where it appeared. Area B. The appearance of the pumpkin wizard has a sense of playfulness. A big pumpkin, holding a broom in his hand. Oh, no, it is a broom full of magic. There is a small pumpkin next to the big pumpkin. The big pumpkin swept the small pumpkin away with a broom. The small pumpkin also rolled in the air and accurately hit the gold rush zombie. That was the first to be hit. In fact, to deal with special zombies like the gold rush zombie, in addition to the two-way shooter that can attack the plants behind, there is another way, that is, to kill the gold rush zombie directly. Obviously, the pumpkin wizard is a good helper. The moment the small pumpkin hit the gold rush zombie's head, it did not explode, but was directly put on the gold rush zombie's head. Directly assimilated the gold rush zombie. Chapter 188. Everything goes smoothly. The assimilated gold mining zombies turned into the slaves of the pumpkin wizard. Under the control of the pumpkin wizard, this zombie slave with a pumpkin on his head and dressed in black also turned around. He bared his teeth and claws at the zombies behind him and directly fought with them. Hey, you are really a wizard with the power to bewitch people. Su Lin grinned. At least, there is no need to worry about Area B for the time being. With the existence of such a zombie slave, he will also help Su Lin resist these zombie waves. Thus, it will also buy more attack time for the plants in the back row. Not to mention, these slave zombies have a certain attack power. After sweeping out the little pumpkin, the pumpkin wizard also fell into a short sleep time, waiting for the birth of a new little pumpkin. This is also the unique attack method of the pumpkin wizard. To put it bluntly, the attack cooldown time is very long. It takes time to prepare. At this time, a new zombie also appeared in Area A. He is very different from ordinary zombies. There is a feeling of leisure and elegance. Other zombies, all of them come with ferocious faces. And it sits on a stool with a noble face, playing the piano elegantly. This piano is specially made. There are several small wheels under the foot column. Piano zombie. The music he plays can stimulate the music cells of the zombies so that they can dance. Yes, it is from this root, dancing lightly, directly to another root. Not only that, his piano can also directly crush plants. It is similar to the previous barrel rolling zombie. The best way to deal with piano zombies is naturally not to arrange plants with melee attributes. Even nuts. Piano zombies can directly crush them. As for it, arrange plants with long range attacks. As for the piano music he plays, that can make zombies dance wildly, this is simple. Anyway, Su Lin has prepared the defense line. No matter how the zombies jump, how they jump to other routes, it is not a problem. Every route and every area has plants, waiting for the attack horn at any time. No matter how the zombies jump, there is no need to worry. When the piano zombie entered, he immediately played a melodious piano piece to start his debut. Hearing such beautiful music, the zombies couldn't help but jump for joy. They all used their jumping steps to express their love for this heavenly sound. But when Su Lin heard such piano music, he couldn't help but cover his ears to avoid further harm. It was so ugly. God knows how these zombies' ears are. Such an ugly song can make them so excited. It's also very supportive. Seeing these zombies constantly changing their routes of action, Su Lin was not nervous. The development of the situation was almost the same as he expected. No matter how these zombies jump, they can't escape the attack of the plants. No matter where they jump, there were peas blowing directly at its face. The piano zombie itself couldn't jump for long. Under the pea burst of the pea shooter and the flame pea of the two-way shooter, the piano was smashed open with a bang. But the piano zombie was also working hard enough. It directly crushed 2 pea shooters to death. It was the kind that was killed instantly. Ding, please pay attention. The last wave of zombies is coming. Please be careful of your head. Su Lin rolled his eyes. He got another energy bean. He was full of confidence. Looking at the black mass of zombies in front of him. Ordinary zombies, iron zombies, piano zombies, gold digging zombies, and flag zombies. Su Lin also used the last energy bean on the pumpkin wizard slowly. Peng. I saw. The pumpkin wizard swung hard. He directly swept the broom in his hand up. Just like playing golf. But the number of golf balls is a bit too much. 5 small pumpkins. They smashed on the zombies' heads one by one, turning them into slave zombies. Zombies in areas A, B, and D were all infected. There were even 3 slave zombies in area D. The only thing to worry about next was areas C and E. The pumpkin wizard's ultimate move was to directly launch several small pumpkins to control the zombies. This launch was random. It was also possible that there were 5 slave zombies in the same area. For the current situation, it was already good. Just as Su Lin focused his attention on areas C and D, the development of the battle situation gradually exceeded Su Lin's imagination. The number of zombies seemed to be a bit too much. Moreover, most of the barrel zombies that appeared in areas C and D were level 3. Su Lin had seen the power of level 3 zombies a long time ago. This situation. He took a look. Then he noticed that there were no gold mining zombies in areas C and D, and this was already the last wave of zombies. Su Lin also chose to plant pea shooters in the first row of areas C and D. Trigger it. This time, it must be triggered. Perhaps he prayed. The 2 pea shooters he planted really triggered the planting trick. A burst of peas were released all over the place. At least the iron barrel of the iron pipe zombie was directly smashed. The pressure was greatly relieved. However, Su Lin was not satisfied with this. After the two-way shooter solved the gold rush zombie, he planted the pea shooter again in the first row. Only one of the 3 newly planted pea shooters was triggered, but it was enough. After all, the slave zombie was still trying hard to resist the pace of his former companions. In the end, the last zombie also bowed down at the feet of the slave zombie. Perhaps he would never understand why the pumpkin monster in front of him had the same smell and feeling as himself, but became his opponent. Ding, congratulations on clearing the 15th level. Ding, cleared successfully, got 1000 sunshine points. Ding, got 1600 experience points. Ding, got 800 gold coins. Ding, congratulations on unlocking golden buds. Ding, congratulations on upgrading. Ding, please note that when the farm reaches LV25, there will be major changes. Cleared the level easily. Su Lin stretched his back while walking out, preparing to pick up the treasure chests that the zombies exploded. At the same time, he firmly remembered the so-called major changes are coming in his mind. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 189, Liang Crossing visits again. This system really likes to do these mysterious things. Su Lin shook his head. It seemed that there was such a situation last time. The last change really gave Su Lin a big surprise. Now, Su Lin himself began to look forward to this so-called major change. Intuition told him that this change would be so big that it would be earth-shaking. Everything in the surviving farm would be destroyed and started over. It seems that I can only upgrade slowly and wait for that day to come. After sighing helplessly, Su Lin also walked to the first treasure chest. He opened it directly. There was only one treasure chest. Su Lin originally had a lazy look on his face. No matter what he found after opening it, he would not be surprised. But he didn't expect that when he looked closely and found what was inside, he was so happy that he jumped half a meter high. Great. Exciting. Ha ha ha. The contrast before and after the treasure chest was opened was also quite funny. But it was no wonder that Su Lin had such a reaction. The things in the treasure chest are really too valuable or important. Originally, I should have obtained it in yesterday's level. But I got nothing. I didn't expect that in such an ordinary and easy level. I got a tactical cucumber. Indeed. Only something with great tactical value like tactical cucumber can make Su Lin so excited. With the tactical cucumber, it is equivalent to having a guarantee in the next level. No matter how powerful the upcoming zombies are, it is nothing in front of the tactical cucumber. After carefully picking up the tactical cucumber, Su Lin, with a satisfied smile, walked straight back to the house. He has already thought about where to use this tactical cucumber. Needless to say, it must be the 21st level. According to what the system said, there will be powerful creatures coming in every 7 levels. Powerful opponents like Naruto and Alan have already appeared. God knows what kind of powerful creatures will be encountered in the 21st level. Came to the kitchen and cooked a bowl of hot soup noodles. Su Lin also went to bed early. It was really busy today. There were 4 new plants. Just collecting their materials made Su Lin exhausted. Not to mention the battle in Orange County. He was also injured. Then he kept going to meet the zombies. Su Lin doubted that he was an Iron Man. But, lying on the bed, Su Lin couldn't fall asleep for a long time. His thoughts were flying in the air. By the way, Su Lin pursed his lips. Is the Orange County Superpower Alliance over there in that? Don't you plan to settle the score later? Su Lin is still worried about the situation in the Superpower Alliance. After all, he went there and made a big fuss. Not to mention that by chance, he also exploited Lin Heo's superpowers. Now Lin Heo has become the most pitiful ordinary person. Nothing. Now he is worried that the Superpower Alliance will settle the score later. After all, according to the information collected at that time, there are 5 founders of the Superpower Alliance. Only Lin Heo was present at the time. If the other 4 returned to Orange County and saw the situation, how would they plot revenge? This was a question Su Lin had to think about. If I'm not mistaken, the feeling of being monitored at that time should be the superpower of one of the other 4. Su Lin narrowed his eyes and analyzed. If we really want to wipe out the Superpower Alliance. He swallowed. In his mind, he quickly analyzed the enemy's strength. Obviously, there is no need to think too much. Even if the Thunder Eagle Kingdom gets involved, it will be difficult for Su Lin to uproot the Superpower Alliance. 5 times of plant possession, it seems that the number is still too few. If it can be used unlimited times, let alone the Superpower Alliance, even if there are more superpowers, they will not be my opponents. This time is just a greeting. Next, it depends on the reaction of the Superpower Alliance. If it doesn't work, use the sunlight teleportation array to directly consume their strength. At worst, I can sneak over tomorrow and see the situation over there. But the survival farm still needs to strengthen the protection. If anything happens, I must come back as soon as possible. Although plants can be planted to protect the survival farm, if there is a war, Su Lin still has to be here. First, he can arrange the plant line at any time. Second, only Su Lin can use the golden bean in the survival farm. Shaking his head and getting rid of all his thoughts, Su Lin also fell into a deep dream. When he woke up the next day, the sun was already shining on his butt. Rubbing his sleepy eyes, Su Lin slowly walked downstairs. Unexpectedly, he met someone unexpected. Liang Crossing. After all, Liang Crossing has lived here for some time. He is also very familiar with other people, and is simply familiar with others. Except for Fang Lel, the new partner who joined. Liang Crossing? Su Lin raised his eyebrows. Seeing Su Lin coming down, Liang Crossing, who was chatting with Su Yue and others with a smile on her face, looked at Su Lin with a caring look. Then she realized that it was not convenient to talk here. She immediately blinked and said, "Hey, Su Lin. I'm here to eat." Hahaha, welcome. Su Lin smiled and said, "I'll go wash up first, you guys chat." Go brother. Su Yue smiled and waved her hand. Obviously, Liang Crossing's arrival made Su Yue very happy. I don't know if it's because the two of them are of similar age. In fact, it's not just Su Yue. People like Lin Xiaoyan, Director Liu, Zhang Jiajia, and Chen Zhan all smiled from the bottom of their hearts when they saw Liang Crossing coming. You guys chat, I'll come back later. Liang Crossing waved his hand. She slid up with a quick step and followed closely behind Su Lin. Looking at Liang Crossing's back as she left, Fang Lel finally asked the question in her heart, who is this Liang Crossing? Are you familiar with her? Zhang Jiajia shrugged and said, you just came here, so you don't know. Liang Crossing moved into the survival farm a long time ago. Oh. Fang Lel blinked. She also realized that with Liang Crossing's arrival, even Su Lin had a rare warm smile on his face. For some reason, a strange feeling spread in Fang Lel's heart. For a moment, she didn't know why she had such a feeling. Su Yue on the side also said with a smile, I remember that not long after I came here, Sister Liang Crossing came. So she doesn't live here now? Fang Lel asked. Chapter 190 Discussing Countermeasures. No. Director Liu pouted helplessly. Miss Liang set up a salvation organization called Glory of Humanity. What? Fang Lel's pupils widened. Glory of Humanity. Yes. No way. Even though I've been hiding in the airport, I've heard about the organization Glory of Humanity from other people. I didn't expect that the founder is a girl. Fang Lel looked at Liang Crossing's back in disbelief. At this time, Liang Crossing was following behind Su Lin, as if she was saying something. Fang Lel really wanted to know what kind of secret things Liang Crossing had to say by deliberately bypassing everyone and coming behind Su Lin, but Fang Lel didn't dare to ask. Very famous? Su Yue blinked, also a little curious. Of course it's famous. Although it's only been a few days, the scale of Glory of Humanity ranks among the best in Chunfeng City. You are worthy of being Sister Liang Crossing. Fang Lel heard what she said. Su Yue looked at Liang Crossing with admiration in her eyes. Fang Lel took a deep breath. For some reason, when she heard that Liang Crossing no longer lived here, she was relieved. At the same time, she subconsciously compared herself with Liang Crossing. Appearance? Well, not that confident. Figure? Even as a former stewardess, Fang Lel had to admit that Liang Crossing's figure was really good. Then, ability? Liang Crossing was able to jump out of her comfort zone and go to the cruel real world outside to create a salvation organization. Comparable? Fang Lel smiled bitterly, looking at the backs of Su Lin and Liang Crossing who were talking happily, and smiled bitterly. What am I thinking about? Why do I always subconsciously compare myself with Liang Crossing? As for what Fang Lel wanted to know, the content of Su Lin's chat was actually very boring. This was also the purpose of Liang Crossing's visit. She was just worried about the injury Su Lin received in the battle yesterday. At the same time, in order not to worry other partners, Liang Crossing specially avoided the crowd and came to Su Lin. How is the injury you received yesterday? Is it healed? Liang Crossing asked impatiently as soon as they met. At the same time, she had to suppress her urge to grab Su Lin's hand to take a look so as not to be noticed by others. Oh. Su Lin blinked. Could it be that the purpose of your coming here is to see me? Otherwise? Hahaha. Su Lin smiled awkwardly. No wonder you came to me specially. You don't want to worry Su Yue and the others, right? Nonsense. Liang Crossing couldn't help rolling his eyes. Come on. Do you really not believe in Dr. Li Da's skills? He treated it a long time ago. The wound doesn't hurt, and it doesn't bleed. That's right. Any external injuries will heal quickly with Li Da. Seeing Su Lin so energetic, Liang Crossing was relieved. So, you really came to see me specially? Su Lin asked with a smile. Nonsense, that's all. I just returned to the base in the middle of the night. It was not until the morning that Li Da told me about this matter. At this point, Liang Crossing's face couldn't help but turn red. Just now, he was too anxious and eager to know Su Lin's situation. So Liang Crossing didn't care so much and directly said what he thought in his heart. now that he has reacted. His face is so red. So what? He joked. He just came directly. Liang Crossing glared at Su Lin, his nose twitching slightly, as if he was very nervous. Hahaha, thank you for your concern, but I'm really fine. I will be fine after Lida treats me. Humph. After a few deep breaths, Liang Crossing regained her composure. She looked at Su Lin solemnly. So, what is the situation with the superpower alliance? Su Lin shrugged and told Liang Crossing the details. Wow. Liang Crossing twitched his mouth. Is there anyone so stupid? Really? Su Lin raised his eyebrows. You think it's stupid too? What kind of new world is it where superpowers are alone and ordinary people can't survive? TSK, it looks like, without genetic mutations, if you awaken your superpowers, you can't survive? Yeah. It's really stupid. According to their thinking, then my human glory can't continue to exist. Speaking of which, Liang Crossing looked at Su Lin. You are really brave. You just go and cause trouble for them alone. Of course not. Su Lin raised his eyebrows. Don't you think about who I am? TSK. Liang Crossing rolled his eyes and didn't want to pay any attention to Su Lin. But aren't you worried that they will cause trouble for you later? Do you think you can completely eradicate that organization? It's definitely not possible now. At most, they will cause trouble from time to time. Su Lin shrugged. He had thought it through very thoroughly last night. No matter what, at this stage, with only 5 chances of plant possession, it is impossible to defeat the entire superpower alliance. You can even say that. With only 5 chances of plant possession, if you go to cause trouble once, you don't know if you can escape unscathed. Yesterday was a sneak attack. Only then could we have such a result. Now wait until the superpower alliance is alert and has set up its defenses. If they go to cause trouble again, forget it. Let's make the best of it. I don't think they will come so early. After all. Su Lin grinned. He believed that yesterday's performance was enough to cast a shadow on the superpower alliance. Whether it was his plant possession or the giant power, he believed that he had left an indelible and extremely mysterious shadow on the superpower alliance. After all, I own the entire farm. Hey. TSK. Shameless. But seriously. Liang Crossing looked at Su Lin straight. If the superpower alliance comes to trouble you, you must tell me. We are in the same boat. That's for sure. Oh. It seems that the armed forces of human glory are getting stronger and stronger, right? It's not exploited from the military base, and we have also joined several superpowers. They are very powerful. Speaking of this, Liang Crossing also grinned, revealing a mysterious smile. TSK, what's the big deal? Su Lin shrugged. For the psychics, Su Lin is the most terrifying existence, and he also leaves the impression of a psychic with many powers. Just when Liang Crossing wanted to refute something, a phone rang. Liang Crossing, who had just answered the phone, was surprised. What? How can it be good? I know. I'm with Su Lin now. I'll go back now. Chapter 191 Giant Insect Attacks. What's wrong? Su Lin frowned. He rarely saw Liang Crossing so flustered. Su Lin, something bad has happened. Liang Crossing narrowed his eyes and said, giant insects are coming. Huh? Giant insects? My patrolling spies said that there are a large number of huge insects rushing towards this side at a very fast speed. Really? Wait. Giant insects? Su Lin blinked his eyes. What the hell? It can't be the Phoenician city I went to last time. I don't know either. Liang Crossing shook his head. But according to what the patrolling spies said, it is indeed in the direction of Phoenician city. It seems that it is really the giant insects you encountered before. That's bad. What do you mean? Maybe it wasn't explained clearly on the phone. I can only say that those giant insects, really giant insects are. Liang Crossing was a little puzzled as to why Su Lin said nonsense at this time. Last time I just described it to you in words. Anyway, those bugs are as big as cars. Forget it. You'll know when you see them later. I'll go with you to see if I can help. Yeah. Liang Crossing nodded. That's what I meant. Now the leaders of the entire Chunfeng City organization basically know about this, and they are all rushing to the edge of the city. Then let's go. After saying that, Su Lin threw his toiletries aside and picked up a sandwich from the dining table and started eating. At the same time, He did not forget to tell Su Yue and the others, you all stay here, don't go out. There are giant bugs attacking the edge of the city. Remember, no matter what happens, don't go out. Got it? Although they couldn't understand what the so-called giant bug was, seeing Su Lin's nervous and serious expression, everyone nodded again and again. They all planned to stay at the survival farm obediently, and would not go out, no matter what happened. Before Su Lin left, Su Yue even pulled his sleeve. Brother, you have to be careful. Okay, I got it. You stay here, and listen to Director Liu. Director Liu. Su Lin looked at Director Liu. I'll leave this to you. That's for sure. You have to be careful too. Director Liu nodded solemnly. It seemed that he was telling Su Lin, just go and fight, and leave the rest to me. Then, Su Lin and the other man also walked out. Each of them drove a motorcycle, and rushed towards Chunfeng City. Along the way, Liang Crossing's phone kept ringing. Su Lin thought something was wrong. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be a call from the leaders of other organizations in Chunfeng City. Have you contacted these organization leaders? I already have contact information. Although there are more enemies in the entire Chunfeng City, Liang Crossing shrugged helplessly, but fortunately, these enemies are more scattered and unorganized. As soon as the voice fell, another call came. Liang Crossing said a few words, and handed the phone to Su Lin. Su Lin looked at Liang Crossing in surprise. He's also your acquaintance. Thanks to him, the signal station in Chunfeng City is stable. Su Lin took the phone. There were beeps and signal interference from the other end of the phone. Su Lin rolled his eyes and said, is this stable? What else? It's much better than before. Liang Crossing also rolled his eyes at Su Lin. It's true that you don't know how expensive firewood and rice are until you run the household. Su Lin is better. He basically stays at the survival farm. There is no need to contact the outside world at all. At most, he goes out during the day to collect materials. The phone is basically in a semi-retired state. People like Liang Crossing who are always running around and always in contact with others need a stable signal base. Just when Su Lin wanted to continue complaining, a voice finally came from the other end of the phone. It was exactly as Liang Crossing said. It was an acquaintance. Zhang from the military base. Fate is so clever. At the beginning, Su Lin and the military base are like fire and water that cannot get along. The division commander at that time, Lu Fiaying, also came to trouble Su Lin. Of course, he was directly killed by Su Lin. Then, the mayor of Chunfeng City, Qiu Yang, took advantage of the fact that the military base was leaderless at that time and directly occupied the magpie's nest. He occupied the entire military base. If Qiu Yang had a conscience and knew how to sympathize with the people in the current situation and didn't always think that he could occupy all the supplies, Su Lin might have let him go. But that's what happened. Qiu Yang ran into Su Lin's gun. In the end, after killing Qiu Yang, Zhao Ying, the sergeant, also took over Qiu Yang's position and became the marshal who commanded the entire military base. Obviously, Zhao Ying is much easier to talk to than the previous two masters of the military base. In fact, it is better to say that Su Lin's strength is in front of him, and Zhao Ying already knew very clearly how strong Su Lin is. After all, his previous two superiors were killed by Su Lin. Zhao Ying is obviously not the same kind of person as the previous two superiors. At least, the current military base is an important existence for the entire Chunfeng City. It can be said to be a happy place. Su Lin, long time no see. I'm Zhao Ying. Oh, Zhao Ying. Ha ha ha. I thought it was someone else. So you guys helped to build a signal station recently? Of course, using military technology, this can be easily strengthened. Although it is not as good as in peacetime, it can be used. Haha, that's really hard for you. Speaking of this, I'm also someone who has been instructed by you a few times. I will continue to follow my inner thoughts and walk out of my own path. That's fine, that's fine. Otherwise, it's a bit embarrassing to always go to your military base to cause trouble every now and then. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Awkward laughter rippled on both ends of the phone. In the end, it was Zhao Ying who broke the silence. Luckily you're with Liang Crossing, otherwise I wouldn't know how to find you. You probably know what happened, right? Yes, the giant insect attack should be the same one I saw in Fishan City last time. They came from Fission City. My thermal sensing device also saw their path. They started from Fission City and passed through a city. According to the information we have, they were all wiped out in less than 3 hours. Not to mention humans. Even the buildings are not intact. What's more terrifying is that, according to reason, these insects should be full after looting a city, but it seems that they are coming with great force. They look so crazy, as if they haven't eaten for a long time. Chapter 192, Giant Insect, Has Intelligence? Zhao Ying's tone was filled with endless panic. Even though they hadn't met yet, Su Lin could fully imagine Zhao Ying's expression at this moment. Alas, Su Lin was helpless. What can I say? Since we are here, let's make the best of it. Anyway, we are ready to deal with those giant insects, right? Alas, we can only hope that Chunfeng City can survive this level. By the way, Su Lin, what did you feel when you saw these giant insects in Fission City before? Although I also saw the size of these giant insects through the thermal imaging sensor. Very big, about the same as a car. Some of them are probably equivalent to low-rise buildings. Yes, that's the general situation. Through the phone, Su Lin also roughly talked about his previous experience in Fission City. The main thing was how powerful those mantises, spiders, and fireflies were. Fortunately, Su Lin already had the ability of plant possession at that time. Otherwise, with only his strong physical fitness, a pistol and a man-eating shark, Su Lin would never be able to evacuate from Fission City. Not to mention, at that time, there were less than 10 insects at most. This time, I heard that it was a huge black mass. At the end, Su Lin did not forget to add, if I remember correctly, before leaving Fission City, I also set a big fire. I don't know about this. Zhao Ying's tone was a little confused. The thermal imaging equipment cannot obtain so much information, but I seem to have heard about it before. What have you heard of? That is, there was indeed a big fire in Fission City, but it didn't last long. This fire seemed to be man-made, and the raging flames plunged the entire Fission City into a sea of fire. It's just that it seemed to last about 10 minutes. Suddenly there was an earthquake, and the surging groundwater gushed out directly from the center of the earth. I have only heard of volcanic eruptions, but I have never heard of groundwater eruptions like this. The endless groundwater directly extinguished the fire in Fission City. Not only that, because of these groundwater, a heavy rain fell for a whole day and night. This Su Lin was stunned. From what I heard, this fire was definitely man-made. You know it's you, and this flood is probably man-made too. What? Who is this psychopath? I'm getting rid of harm for the people. Who was so blind to cause a flood? If Su Lin knew who it was, he would probably kick him. Are you crazy? Question mark? This. Zhao Ying sighed and said slowly, as if there was something worrying hidden in his low voice. Even though they were on the phone, there was no need to be so mysterious, but Zhao Ying used a special tone to say, this is just my guess. I just carefully studied the movement paths of these giant insects, and the fire you just mentioned was extinguished by the flood for no reason. To sum up, Su Lin. Zhao Ying swallowed her saliva. I suspect that the flood was indeed man-made, otherwise it would not be so coincidental, but this man-made may not be caused by giant insects. I suspect that these giant insects already have the same wisdom as us humans. This Su Lin was also stunned. He really didn't think about it in this direction. When he heard Zhao Ying say this, he was a little scared. When I saw the giant insects, I did have this thought. If these giant insects have the same wisdom as us humans, plus their huge bodies and terrible explosive power, then we humans don't need to struggle at all. Yeah. Zhao Ying sighed. Anyway, let's meet first, and talk about the specific meeting later. Now let's think about it from this perspective. The giant insects are intelligent. Yeah. Then, Su Lin also hung up the phone. He returned the phone to Liang Crossing. Liang Crossing blinked and looked straight at Su Lin. Su Lin also smiled bitterly. Anyway, you will know sooner or later. These giant insects may be intelligent. Liang Crossing twitched the corner of her mouth. She was also a little bit unbelievable. If the giant insects are intelligent, what should we do? We can only take it one step at a time. Yeah. Ding-ling-ling rang a few times. Another phone call came, but this time it was Su Lin's phone. Su Lin took out his cell phone and answered the call. The first thing he said was, "You know it too? I just learned from the intelligence network that according to the path of action of these giant insects, if Chunfeng City is gone, then Chaoshu City will be the next unlucky one. Yeah. So, we are on the way and will arrive in about half an hour. Okay, thank you." He hung up the phone. Su Lin couldn't help but smile. Seeing this, Liang Crossing also asked curiously, "Who is it?" "The King of Thunder and Lightning, Lei Tao." "Oh. Is it the Thunder Eagle Kingdom in Chaoshu City?" "Yeah, I saw him calling me, and I guessed that Lei Tao might also know about the giant insects attacking Chunfeng City. So he wants to come to help?" Liang Crossing blinked. One more person, one more organization, and one more force. When facing giant insects, the sense of security also rises. "Yeah." Su Lin nodded. "Why? I have no relationship with him. Firstly, Lei Tao owes me a favor that cannot be repaid even with the entire Thunder Eagle Kingdom. Secondly, Chaoshui City is so close to us. If Chunfeng City has fallen, then Chaoshui City is not far away." "I see." Liang Crossing nodded. "Who cares? One more person coming to help means more strength. Hey." "Yeah." Su Lin nodded. He subconsciously looked up at the gray sky. This can be said to be a disaster for Chunfeng City, a great disaster. He didn't dare to imagine what would happen later. Soon, the two of them arrived at the outskirts of the city. This is an abandoned experimental base. It is connected in all directions, a whole large plain, but there are two small peaks next to it. If it were in ancient times, this would be a place that is easy to defend and difficult to attack. This gathering point was also proposed by Zhao Ying. If you continue along this main road, you will see where the giant insects are rushing. And behind, it is the entire Chunfeng City. Here, there are already crowds of people. In addition to a large number of people, there are countless weapons. Of course, all of them are provided by Zhao Ying from the military base. Make way, make way. Look, who's here? Wow, it turns out to be Miss Liang Crossing, the glory of mankind. Huh? Who is the person next to her? Could it be the pretty boy kept by Liang Crossing? Chapter 193, Chunfeng City, Gathering. There were too many people. Su Lin and his partner had to put their motorcycles aside. They walked through the crowd and went in. This was the first time Su Lin had seen so many people. Or rather, in the current apocalyptic form, he had seen so many people. Moreover, the faces of these people were quite red. They were well armed, with all kinds of baseball bats, machetes and other weapons. They were much better than the thugs Su Lin had seen when he went to Chunfeng City alone. This was the real regular army. If they only relied on those thugs, they probably wouldn't have to come here to prepare to face those giant insects. It would be better to surrender directly. Obviously, Liang Crossing had long been a famous person in Chunfeng City. Her appearance attracted everyone's attention. Liang Crossing was originally a beautiful woman who could topple a country. In addition, she was a smart and capable independent woman who created the glory of mankind. It was normal for her to attract everyone's attention. But for Su Lin beside Liang Crossing, no one had any impression of him, and everyone was talking about him. Some people with sharp eyes and good memory also recalled that they had seen Su Lin in the streets and alleys of Chunfeng City before. "I seem to have some impression of him. Oh. That's the guy who always rides a motorcycle to the city in broad daylight. Is it him? Damn, no wonder I feel that he is indeed familiar. Yes, he is like a madman, always coming to the city, and I don't know what he is doing every day. Maybe he is Liang Crossing's little white face. Tut tut, I'm so envious. What's there to envy? Of course, look, Liang Crossing is beautiful and has a lot of supplies." Such gossip naturally floated to Su Lin and Liang Crossing. For Su Lin, he didn't care. The less people know about his survival farm, the better, and he can be as low-key as possible. But Liang Crossing on the side was a little unhappy. What is a little white face kept by someone? Obviously, in a sense, it was Liang Crossing who was kept by Su Lin. When Su Lin noticed that Liang Crossing wanted to rush up to argue, he gently dragged her hand and signaled her not to act rashly. "No need." "But they said you." It's okay. Anyway, I can benefit from following you." "Hey." Su Lin grinned. He really didn't care about this situation of being talked about. Hey, Zhao Ying and Li Dao are in front. Let's go and meet them. Yeah. Liang Crossing nodded and hurriedly followed Su Lin up. Maybe she wanted to save some face for Su Lin. Liang Crossing deliberately slowed down her pace so that she could follow Su Lin closely, making it look like Su Lin had a higher status than she. Liang Crossing came with Su Lin. Su Lin also noticed this, although he really didn't care about the situation in this regard. But seeing Liang Crossing doing this for him, a warm current still passed through his heart. Soon, the two of them came directly to Zhao Ying and the others. Seeing Liang Crossing finally arrived, Li Da subconsciously stepped back half a step. After all, Liang Crossing was the leader of the human glory. At the same time, Li Da also nodded to Su Lin and said hello. Not to mention Zhao Ying's situation. He turned half of his body away and gave way to Su Lin. What Su Lin didn't expect was that the Yan Wu of the Vulcan fortress was also in front of him. Seeing Su Lin, Yan Wu was simply called a mouse meeting a cat, trembling with fear. Previously in front of Zhao Ying, Yan Wu relied on his identity as a superpower to take advantage of the tiger's power. Now, Su Lin is here. Su Lin, who has taught him a lesson many times, is here. How can he still have room to speak? Su Lin didn't even need to glare at him. Yan Wu himself became timid. Just with the appearance of Su Lin, these giants in Chunfeng City showed different attitudes. This really confused the others. What's going on? Did you see that? Marshal Zhao Ying, who is in charge of the entire military base and has the most and strongest weapons, actually stepped aside half of his body. Yes. Why don't you talk about Yan Wu from the Vulcan fortress? Damn, he has always been arrogant because he has the power of fire, but now he is like a deflated bird. That Li Da too, isn't he the second in command of human glory? When he saw his boss following that man, he didn't say anything and followed him too. Who is that pretty boy? Everyone was talking about it, and Su Lin felt a little shy. He had made a big show for himself inexplicably. But it's no wonder. Chunfeng City has already seen too many salvation organizations. Gradually, these organizations have also been divided into one or two, or high and low. At least, the military base Human Glory and Vulcan Fortress, these three organizations can be said to be giants in Chunfeng City. However, now among these three giants, a stranger has appeared. It's no wonder that Su Lin's appearance has become the most eye-catching presence in the whole venue. Seeing this, Zhao Ying couldn't help laughing. I didn't expect that Su Lin would become a celebrity. That's all thanks to you. Su Lin shrugged, and then he looked at Yan Wu on the side. Hey, Yan Wu, long time no see. Have you behaved yourself recently? Su Lin. Yan Wu smiled bitterly, and then immediately showed a flattering smile. Yes, of course. You must take good care of the people who have taken refuge in your Vulcan fortress. This is the only meaning of your being alive. You also know that, right? Hearing Su Lin say this, Yan Wu also silently clenched his teeth. It's really a pot that doesn't open the pot, and in front of so many people, but this is also the fact. Yan Wu had to nod like a servile little brother. Face and so on are not important. Surviving is important. Zhao Ying glanced at them and couldn't help laughing. It seemed that Su Lin and Yan Wu had a feud. But now was not the time to delve into such matters. After coughing lightly, he looked at the people around him. Everyone is basically here. Hello everyone, I'm Zhao Ying from the military base. Zhao Ying looked around, and subconsciously, he wanted to give a military salute. But it was only a moment, and it was over in the blink of an eye. He immediately suppressed this conditioned reaction. This set of rules is no longer popular now. Let's follow the current rules. Gather everyone here. I think you also know what happened. Giant insects are attacking. I think all of us in Chunfeng City must unite as one. I'm not talented. I wasn't before, but now, even now I'm a soldier. I'm more proficient in the geographical environment of Chunfeng City and commanding battles, so I also recommend myself. Let me be the commander of this battle. How about it? Chapter 194, Combat, Preparation. Zhao Ying spoke with full confidence. Su Lin also clapped his hands vigorously, making a clapping sound. Good. Zhao Ying, it's you. Hahaha, of course, it must be a soldier. Everyone also started to make noises. Indeed, Zhao Ang was basically the only one present who was qualified to command. Zhao Ang smiled and cast a grateful look at Su Lin. After he finished speaking just now, Su Lin was the first to take the lead in applauding. He was also worried that these people would have other ideas. If their hearts were not in agreement, then it would be difficult to deal with the next step. Then I would rather obey than be respectful. I promise that I will lead you to repel the giant insects and move towards victory. The current situation is like this. Then Zhao Ang also told the information about the giant insects that he had currently mastered. Of course, Zhao Ang also avoided the important points. He only said that it was powerful and intelligent. He did not mention the fact that a city had been massacred not long ago. If it was mentioned, Zhao Ang was worried that if they didn't fight, they would flee. It's better not to do such things that damage morale. Even if it was just a general information about the giant insect, everyone's faces couldn't help but show layers of gloom. Zhao Ang keenly noticed this point and immediately stopped talking about it. She started to arrange the defense work directly. In order to better welcome the arrival of the giant insect, Zhao Ang even emptied the entire military base. Firearms and weapons were distributed to other salvation organizations free of charge. At the same time, the soldiers of the military base were arranged to teach them hand in hand. At this time, there was still about an hour before the giant insect arrived. This approach is nothing more than forcing ducks to climb the shelves and cramming at the last minute. But if you don't even cram for the Buddha's feet, it will be the real giving up treatment. By the way, Zhao Ang, do you know the Thunder Eagle Kingdom? Su Lin asked. The Thunder Eagle Kingdom? Is it the Thunder Eagle Kingdom with one city and one person? Zhao Ang asked in surprise. The Thunder Eagle Kingdom that took the entire Chaoshu city for itself and created a separate salvation organization? Su Lin raised his eyebrows. Yeah, how did you know? He is very famous. One person in one city, isn't that enough? Several surrounding cities know his reputation. Oh, that's easy. He told me that he would come to support. As far as I know, I'm afraid he would move half of the Thunder Eagle Kingdom here. What? Zhao Ang's pupils widened with a look of disbelief. How did you know someone from the Thunder Eagle Kingdom? The Thunder King Lei Tao, the boss of the Thunder Eagle Kingdom, how should I put it, is someone who is willing to go through fire and water for me. TSK. Zhao Ang smacked her lips, sighing at Su Lin's interpersonal relationships. I didn't expect your social circle to be so big. Hahaha, not bad, not bad. Then, Zhao Ang also began to deploy troops. The infantry of the military base could not arm everyone. The weapons used by the remaining people were just simple machetes or baseball bats. These people naturally had to be in the front row and act as forwards. In order to increase their chances of survival, they all wore bulletproof vests, although they didn't know what they were used for. In addition to those who used firearms and weapons, there was also a special main force, the Superpower Force. It was unknown before the distribution was completed. Once the distribution was completed, it was known that so many superpowers had emerged in Chunfeng City. Looking around, there were at least 100 people. TSK, there are already so many people. Su Lin raised his eyebrows and secretly complained. I don't know how many superpowers can be used for combat. And people like Li Dan, who have superpowers for surgical treatment, were assigned to the logistics department. The functions were assigned. The people who got the firearms and weapons also started training without stopping. For a while, bang 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 was heard continuously. Not long after, not far away, there were gusts of dust. Zhao Ang took a telescope and observed carefully. Here they come. They are here again. Zhao Ang swallowed his saliva. If possible, he still hoped that these giant insects would take a detour, at least not attack Chunfeng City. But in the end, he thought too much. The target of these giant insects is still Chunfeng City. Get ready. The enemy will arrive in 10 minutes. After the order was given, everyone hurriedly began to prepare for the battle. Su Lin took a deep breath and slowly came to the empty position in the center. When the battle plan was made just now, Su Lin had already told Zhao Ang to give him enough space. He would definitely be able to save Chunfeng City. Now, it is time to fulfill this promise. After stretching, Su Lin took a brisk step and rushed forward, towards the direction of the giant insects. His speed was far beyond the imagination of normal people. It was like a gust of wind passing by. Seeing Su Lin suddenly running out, everyone was stunned. Only Su Lin and Zhang knew this battle plan. The people who didn't know what was going on all looked at Su Lin's actions with a confused look on their faces. Only Liang Crossing, when she looked at Su Lin's running back, had a faint smile on her lips, which was a look of great trust in Su Lin. She knew that Su Lin had his own considerations for doing this, and in the process of sprinting, Su Lin also took out the off-road motorcycle from his space pocket. He flipped over, jumped up, sat firmly on the motorcycle, tightened the throttle handle, and roared away. The roar of the motorcycle and the sound of the giant insect army running together announced that the battle had begun. In front of him, there was a takeoff platform made of sand, right in front of Su Lin. This was Su Lin's special request, and Zhang also quickly sent soldiers to pile it up in just 10 minutes. Everything was almost the same as Su Lin expected. In front of him, there were large numbers of enemies and a sand takeoff platform, and he had tightened the throttle handle of the off-road motorcycle to the tightest, bursting out at the fastest speed. With a puff, when the motorcycle reached the slope, the tires touched the gravel, and the speed was so fast that a sizzling sound broke out. Whoosh! At the highest point, the off-road motorcycle jumped up directly into the air. Su Lin, like a free bird, rose from the ground and soared up to 90,000 miles. Under his feet, there were large groups of giant insects that kept moving forward. Dust filled the sky, and just when Su Lin was flying to the highest point, he put the off-road motorcycle into his space pocket. At such a height, falling down would definitely kill you. But Su Lin was pursuing this height. Only at this height can he cause greater damage. With a grit of his teeth, a bolt of lightning fell from the sky, and the figure of a huge monster suddenly appeared in the sky. Supergiant. Chapter 195. Supergiant. This is the legendary human bomb. Enough height, enough weight, smashing down. TSK. When the supergiant appeared in the sky, the people behind him were stunned. What kind of situation is this? There was a sudden thunder in the sky, and then a huge monster appeared across the sky. And at the moment, when the supergiant appeared, the giant insects on the ground all stopped suddenly. They also noticed the threat from the sky, but it was too late. But it was normal, even the human army had no way to react when facing this situation. I saw a black shadow appear in front, jumped up and flew into the air. God knows what he wants to do. Wait until this behemoth appears, and then react. It's too late. Boom. It's like a meteorite hitting the earth. Countless giant insects all died under the body of the supergiant. They were crushed alive. Not only that, when the supergiant appeared, its body exuded rolling heat waves. Those lucky insects seemed to have escaped the disaster temporarily. The giant did not crush them to death, and they relied on their powerful claws to hold onto the ground to avoid being blown away. But the heat wave brought by the giant directly roasted these lucky insects. For a moment, it was unclear which fate was good. Was it going to be crushed to death, or roasted by the heat wave? After being tossed by the giant insects quickly turned around and stared at the behemoth in front of them. If they had wisdom. No, they already had wisdom that was no less than that of humans. These giant insects had only one thought in their minds. That was, I really didn't know who I had provoked. Thinking back to when I hadn't changed my genes and became a giant insect, I had been looking up at humans. An ordinary human, even a baby, was a behemoth to them. Their bloodline and their genes told them. A long time ago, in ancient times, their ancestors were all giant insects of huge size. They could even be compared with dinosaurs. But now, they have become small insects. It was not easy. Finally, the earth changed again. They turned back to the original giant insect form. Moreover, because of the genetic mutation, they had the wisdom they had always dreamed of. When they slaughtered humans, when they saw these humans in front of them trembling because of their huge bodies, don't mention how happy they were in their hearts. It was like the reappearance of a dynasty in a dream. Attack and defense switch. This time, it was finally the turn of humans to tremble in front of the insects. But now, the giant insects are still giant insects. But what about this supergiant in front of them? Don't panic. Get ready for battle. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded, which also surprised Su Lin. The supergiant slowly stood up. He shook his head. I wondered if I had heard it wrong. This voice seemed to come from beside me, and this voice was a bit strange. It seemed like a synthetic voice, a voice that was squeezed out by suppressing the throat in a special way. Although when the supergiant looked down at the ground, these giant insects were similar to the ants before. But Su Lin quickly found something wrong. That is, in the central area of the giant insects, there is a person, or a humanoid insect? Question mark? Su Lin was shocked. What on earth is going on? The human form is about 2 meters. Such a small body is very out of place in front of these giant insects. But it has an inexplicable aura, that is, the kind of powerful aura, that is the only one in the world. Head? Body? Limbs? It's an ant-man. I saw that this ant-man waved his hand, and the giant insects next to him all moved. Those who can fly, fly. Those who can't fly, leave this war zone, and wait for an opportunity. After saying that, the ant-man also jumped directly onto the head of a giant cockroach. The cockroach flapped its wings, and flew towards a supergiant with the ant-man. Su Lin swallowed hard. He had a premonition that something bad was going to happen. Although he was fully prepared for the incredible thing, that giant insects had intelligence, this time it was an insect that could speak human language. And it was a human-shaped insect. Just hit it. Su Lin took a deep breath. He didn't hesitate anymore. Why think so much? Just treat these giant insects like the cockroaches and ants before, and step on them to death. Thinking of this, the supergiant also raised his huge feet. He took a step forward, and stepped down heavily. Boom. It was like a small earthquake. Even insects with extremely hard armor could not withstand such an attack. However, these giant insects are not stupid. When they saw the colossal titan lift up his big feet, all the insects that could only crawl on the ground scattered in a swarm. As for the insects that could fly in the sky, they naturally did not need to be vigilant about the colossal titan's big feet. What they needed to worry about was naturally the colossal titan's big hands. Damn. This won't work. These giant insects are too flexible. No matter how the colossal titan waved his powerful hands and stomped on the ground with his big feet, the damage caused by the attack was still minimal. It can only be said that these insects are too flexible. No, it should be said that they are really giant insects with wisdom. Originally, insects are a very magical, even horrible animal. Although they are small in size, they can always rely on their thin bodies to exert unimaginable abilities, such as being able to lift things far beyond their weight, or being able to reach speeds far beyond their physical capabilities, or having healing abilities that are unimaginable to ordinary people. It can even be said that insects are the natural masters of the earth. Insects are far superior to any other creatures of the same size. The only flaw is that they do not have the wisdom that humans have. But now, the situation has been reversed. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 196, Hard Fight. After trying for a while, Su Lin found that in his current state, his flexibility was far inferior to those annoying giant insects that kept buzzing. Not to mention, these giant insects took advantage of the weakness of the giant's huge size, slow movement, and firmly grasped the rhythm of the attack. One flew and the other bit, leaving the giant with full wounds. Although Su Lin's self-healing ability has been greatly improved, after he turned into a giant, he couldn't stand the crazy attacks of these giant insects in this way. Thinking of this, Su Lin no longer hesitated, and directly cancelled the state of the giant. At the same time, because of another characteristic of the giant, the giant insects that besieged it suffered a great loss. The giant will generate a large amount of white heat waves when it appears. Just now, the giant insects have been tormented by these heat waves. After all, the distance is so close, right next to him. The heat wave has also achieved a very significant effect. When the colossal titan disappears, a heat wave will also be generated. The white heat wave roared like a surging roar. It directly swallowed up all the giant insects next to it. The roars and cries of pain were endless. Even the people in Chunfeng City not far away heard it. Such a cry was really cruel. Just when they didn't understand what was going on, the colossal titan that gave them great confusion, but also gave them inspiring confidence actually disappeared directly. Question mark? Similarly, just when they felt insecure because of the disappearance of the colossal titan, there was another thunder in the sky. It fell to the ground with a bang. The jaw titan appeared. Although the size of the jaw titan is much smaller than the colossal titan, the same thunder came down, just like the scene when the colossal titan appeared before. It also made everyone feel a lot more at ease. Zhao Ying, who was using a telescope to check the situation, also told the exciting news. Everyone, don't be nervous. Su Lin seems to have turned into another giant. He is still fighting with the giant insects. Of course. Zhao Ying slowly put down the telescope and looked at the people next to him. This is also a battle plan that Su Lin discussed with me at the beginning. He will weaken the strength of the giant insects as much as possible in the near future and reduce their number as much as possible. Once he can't hold on, it will depend on us. After hearing this, everyone nodded repeatedly. Their faces were full of determination. Although they were no longer on the battlefield on Su Lin's side, it was easy to imagine how many giant insects Su Lin had solved alone. In addition to expressing gratitude to Su Lin in their hearts, they didn't know how to look at Su Lin. At the same time, they also knew that this little white face was called Su Lin. Obviously, Su Lin still wanted to continue to entangle these giant insects here. He had absolute confidence. If he encountered any accidents later, he would be able to retreat unscathed. That's why there was such a battle plan. As a pioneer, Su Lin naturally wanted to continue to be unbridled here. Only by destroying more giant insects, the pressure faced by the people of Chunfeng City would be much smaller. So he continued to use the power of giants. This time he chose the Jaw Titan with extremely high agility. After transforming into the Jaw Titan, Su Lin rushed into the giant insect swarm like a madman. The sharp claws scratched the giant insects one by one. Blood splattered everywhere. Occasionally, the Jaw Titan also used his teeth that could chew anything to bite the giant insects one by one. Although the taste was a bit bad. After realizing that the supergiant disappeared and turned into a giant of the same size as them, the giant insects hesitated for a moment. But they also regrouped under the command of the Ant-Man. Don't be afraid, just attack directly. Ground troops, come back, it's time to need you. Also be careful, he may turn into that giant again. If lightning appears, everyone dodge. As the Ant-Man raised his hand, the insects also began a fierce attack on the Jaw Titan. More flexible, insects have wings. More sharp, the claws of insects are not inferior at all. If it weren't for the extremely terrifying self-healing ability of the giant's power, I'm afraid that in a few rounds, Su Lin would be defeated directly. But even with such a terrifying self-healing ability, Su Lin couldn't hold on for long. His body was full of wounds. One side was constantly healing, and the other side was constantly injured. If this continued, Su Lin's physical strength could not keep up. Su Lin also realized this. After tearing the entangled mantis into pieces with one claw, the Jaw Titan exerted force on his hind legs and quickly shook off the giant insect beside him. Then he went to Chunfeng City, which was the direction where everyone was. How could the giant insects let Su Lin escape? They naturally chased after him. They didn't need Ant-Man to command. Zhao Ying, who used a telescope to observe the current situation, took a deep breath. He looked at the people behind him. Everyone, get ready to fight. Su Lin has done so much for us. Next, we will fight side by side. Let those giant insects know who is the master of this city and this world. Zhao Ying swung a submachine gun and waved his arms. The people infected by him also cheered. Good. That's right. Morale has been ignited. The next is a fight that is about to break out. On the other side, the Jaw Titan was galloping while constantly looking at the situation behind him. Fortunately, in terms of speed, the Jaw Titan still barely has the advantage. He won't be caught up for a while. When the Jaw Titan came to the front of everyone, the injuries on his body were also healed directly. But Su Lin was not in a hurry to change back. Anyway, there are still a few minutes to last. So let's continue to use this body and continue to fight. I still have 3 chances to transform into a giant. I haven't used the golden beans yet. This is all I have. Su Lin narrowed his eyes and stared at the giant insects that were rushing towards him. After all the trouble just now, the number of giant insects has also decreased significantly at a speed visible to the naked eye. But they are still a sea of black. The next step is a test for the entire Chunfeng city. The 2 armies met. The first to attack was Yan Wu. As a fire-type mutant, he directly released a large sea of fire, which smashed into the giant insects in front of him. Chapter 197 Melee. This is a perfectly normal thing. At the same time, it was also Zhao Ying's arrangement. Fire. It's perfect for burning insects. As Yan Wu made his move, several psychics beside him also reacted. Although they were stunned when they saw the giant insects, they regained consciousness instantly under the leadership of Yan Wu. They raised their hands together and aimed at the giant insects in front of them. Release. Blazing flames. Boom. Flame psychics. It was the first line of attack and defense arranged by Zhao Ying. A large sea of fire directly enveloped the giant insects rushing in the front. No matter how smart they were, they would never have thought that there was an ambush here. Ha ha ha. Standing in front of this sea of fire, Yan Wu laughed even more arrogantly. It's really me. It's really my Vulcan fortress. Go to hell. Go to hell. You bunch of bugs. Peng peng peng. Even though the sea of fire had completely enveloped the insects, Yan Wu still shot fireballs, as if he was showing off his power. Look at his arrogant appearance. Standing behind Yan Wu, the gasping jaw giant couldn't help but roll his eyes. Just now, when he rushed through the first line of defense, that is, when he passed by Yan Wu, he noticed it. Found out. Damn, Yan Wu was already scared silly. He was scared silly in front of this huge wave of insects. Fortunately, Su Lin noticed it. Immediately, he threw a murderous look at him, which directly shocked Yan Wu. He recovered from the panic just now. Otherwise, the consequences would be disastrous. Yan Wu, who recovered, also immediately launched an attack, leading the psychics next to him. Idiot. Looking at Yan Wu like this, Su Lin didn't know what to do except complain. Yan Wu, be careful. Su Lin yelled hard. Giant insects are not that fragile. Su Lin, who had fought with giant insects before, knew how terrible they were. Sea of fire? Just a sea of fire. Perhaps to prove that what Su Lin said was very true, I saw that the giant insects that were destroyed by the sudden sea of fire had regrouped. The giant insects that could fly all spread their wings and flapped hard, but they refused to take off, just flapping like this. The high-speed wings also brought gusts of whistling wind, which not only brought the black smell of burning insects, but also began to blow the flames. Until the sea of fire in front of him was extinguished by the hurricane. How is it possible? Yan Wu twitched his mouth, and he couldn't believe it. The sea of fire that he was proud of was so easily broken by the giant insects. Unwilling to give up, he attacked again and again, constantly launching fireballs, ready to kill these annoying insects in front of him one by one. But unfortunately, if it was just a fireball, the insects would have many ways to deal with it. Not only could they flap their wings desperately to blow the fireball away like before, but they could also dodge it directly. Moreover, if it was just a fireball, it would at most leave a faint black burn mark on the insect's shell, and it would not cause significant damage. Zhao Ying saw this and quickly shouted, Yan Wu, you retreat, don't continue to entangle. Although the previous sea of fire attack made Zhao Ying relax a little bit of vigilance. However, as a commander, he was not too proud, but instead carefully observed the battle situation. It can even be said that breaking through the sea of fire was also something he expected. Damn it. Yan Wu was still a little unwilling. Don't be stupid. The jaw giant waved his hand and grabbed several psychics in front of him. Go. After a few steps back, Su Lin took Yan Wu and several others back to the base camp. Su Lin. When Su Lin slowly put Yan Wu on the ground, Yan Wu looked at Su Lin in surprise, or rather, at the hideous and scary strange creature in front of him. He had had friction with Su Lin before, knowing that Su Lin relied on his large estate plants. So when he saw Su Lin transformed into a giant, he was the most shocked among those present. But what surprised him now was that he didn't understand why Su Lin wanted to save him. If you say so. The jaw giant slowly opened his big mouth with sharp teeth, and a low hum came out of his mouth. If you want to ask me why I saved you, I can only say that at this time, we are all human beings. We are all residents of Chunfeng City. Okay, stop talking nonsense. The giant worm is already very strong, and it is very normal to break through the sea of fire. The important thing is how we should deal with it next. In short, to deal with the giant worm, we still need flames. Let's hold back the giant worm's offensive. You, and the other flame ability users, keep attacking with flames. Yeah. Yan Wu took a deep breath and nodded. After being awakened by the person he disliked the most, Yan Wu's face also flushed. For a moment, I don't know whether it was because of shame or because of the burning desire to fight. The giant insects also collided directly with the large army. Obviously, the fire attack just now had a very significant effect. There were black and charred corpses everywhere. A small number of the surviving insects were also injured. The shells on their bodies were full of burn marks, and some of the more unlucky ones had their horns and teeth burned. However, after finally breaking through the sea of fire, the giant insects also showed a combat crushing that was difficult to describe in words. Under Zhao Ang's command, the soldiers in the back row, or ordinary people holding guns, began to suppress the fire. But I'm sorry, often a few bullets can't hurt the giant insects at all. Only the well-trained soldiers can achieve a negligible effect. Those who use firearms try to aim at one part to attack. Zhao Ang also found that, in order to make the bullets work, they can only control the bullets as much as possible at the same level. The penetrating damage brought about in this way can penetrate the shells of the giant insects and cause damage to them. But this is difficult in the first place. Basically, only soldiers can do this. Moreover, giant insects are not stupid, nor are they targets. They will not stand there stupidly, waiting for bullets to announce their death. Dodging is basic. At the same time, they can also eat the people in front of them while dodging. Giant insects are very cruel. They are like playing with their prey. One big claw directly pierces a person's chest, and then, as if to satisfy the need of showing off, use another big claw to tear it apart alive. One bite, and one bite into his mouth. The better ones may be directly pierced to death by the claws of the giant insects, without a sound. Everyone, disperse. Don't gather in one place. Be careful of humans with genetic mutations. They are superpowers with special abilities. And those who use guns in the back row. Everyone must be careful. Chapter 198. The origin of the insect army. After the first wave of contact with the human army, Ant-Man also quickly analyzed the current battle situation. With a wave of his hand, he once again issued instructions to the giant insects. Perhaps it was a unique way of communication between insects. Although Ant-Man spoke in human language, these insects were able to understand it. They quickly launched their battle according to the plan Ant-Man said. And just after Ant-Man gave the order, he squinted his eyes and scanned the battle situation in front of him. Although after contact with the human army, the giant insects were finally able to exert their due oppression strength. However, when facing the giants and resisting the sea of fire, damn, this group of humans, the humans in the last city, are not as tenacious as you. It shouldn't be the people in this city who knew in advance that we were about to attack, so they also made preparations in advance to deal with it, which caused us to lose so much. Damn it, there are already so many casualties. What if we capture this city and devour everyone inside and turn them into nutrients? Ant-Man gritted his teeth. The sharp teeth sizzled. I'm afraid there's no way to continue advancing. If we return to the king like this, I don't know how angry he will be. Thinking of the so-called king, the Ant-Man couldn't help swallowing his saliva. Although his dark face didn't show any expression, he could still see the fear in his big black eyes. His compound eyes were flashing, and those who didn't know would think there was a shining boiled egg light here. King. Although the king was the last to be born, he even killed his mother directly for nutrients. In fact, this Ant-Man was a child born by the Queen Ant, when Su Lin was wreaking havoc in Fission City before. However, this Queen Ant was like a terrible breeding machine. One litter after another. She could even give birth to many litters at a time. Moreover, the Queen Ant gave birth to not only ants, but also cockroaches, praying mantises, fireflies and other insects. They all have the same characteristic. That is, they are human shaped, can speak, and have intelligence no less than that of humans. However, now this queen ant is dead. She died when she gave birth to her last baby. She was devoured alive by her youngest son. And this youngest son is the king in the mouth of the ant. In a certain sense, the ant-man is still the older brother of the king. But obviously, for the king who can kill his mother, he will not admit that he has any brothers and sisters. All compatriots are his subordinates. At the same time, because of the characteristics of insects, they advocate the use of force. Whoever is stronger is a boss. All insect compatriots are also willing to be commanded by the king. This is also their nature. If Su Lin knew these things, I'm afraid he would regret not checking it out in Fashion City. If we do this, we might be able to catch the queen ant and put an end to all the disasters that have occurred. Forget it. The ant-man shook his head after coming back to his senses from his memory. He threw all his thoughts behind him. Anyway, let's capture the town in front of us and kill everyone inside. It's just that giant just now. The ant-man showed a surprised expression. Why do I feel that giant is familiar? It seems that I have had a sense of deja vu in my mother's memory. The battle was one-sided from the beginning. After all, the giant insects are far superior to humans in terms of agility, strength, and defense. Even the firearms that humans are proud of are not superior to giant insects. Firearms can only play a small role. Obviously, the main force on the battlefield, the absolute main force, is still the genetically mutated humans, that is, the superpowers. The superpowers with all kinds of strange abilities are also frantically launching their superpowers and constantly sniping at the giant insects. But, there are still too many giant insects. These people can't deal with them at all. Damn it. Don't relax, keep using fire. Even if you throw fireballs, it's okay. Aim at the wings of the giant insects. Just don't let them fly away. Yang Wu, who regrouped, also commanded the superpowers with fire powers to fight bravely. Although he was panting and sweating because of the continuous use of superpowers, he didn't mean to give up at all. Also, when using fire, be careful not to hurt friendly forces by mistake. On the other side, Liang Crossing, who has become a celebrity in Chunfeng City with her strong personality charm, is also running around. She is responsible for the logistics work. She has been safely transporting the injured to Li Dan not far away. Let Li Dan activate his medical superpowers to treat the injured. Su Lin is maintaining the state of the Jaw Titan and fighting to the limit until the duration is about to end. He activated his superpowers again and turned into another giant, the Armored Titan. Although the Jaw Titan is flexible enough to hunt more giant insects, the giant insect's offensive is fierce enough, and they still remember how annoying the Jaw Titan is. How many of their compatriots were killed right away? If you don't take revenge, you are not a gentleman. Although the giant insects are not gentlemen either, but they also directly targeted the Jaw Titan, and Su Lin planned to continue fighting for a long time. If he continued to use the Jaw Titan, he would inevitably be wounded and out of breath after being targeted. It would be better to strengthen his defense. Sure enough, the defense of the Armored Titan gave Su Lin great confidence. No matter how the giant insects were, they only achieved a negligible effect in front of the Armored Titan's armor. The strong defense was exchanged for a significant reduction in agility, but now is not the same as in the past. The Armored Titan has companions around him. On the one hand, it can help Su Lin attract firepower, and on the other hand, it can also help Su Lin kill those sneak attackers in hidden corners. It can be said that it kills two birds with one stone. In addition, it has already become a big melee. The Armored Titan can attack the giant insect with a wave of his hand. Abandon agility, so abandon agility. Just when the giant insect's offensive is gradually gaining the upper hand, the reinforcement have finally arrived. The Thunder Eagle Kingdom led by Lei Tao has arrived. Chapter 199, Reinforcement, Thunder Eagle Kingdom. As the King of Thunder and Lightning, Lei Tao, as soon as he appeared on the stage, did not hesitate to use his most proud lightning power. Rumble. A giant dragon of thunder and lightning, just baring its teeth, crashed into large groups of giant insects. It just so happened that there were no supernatural beings who used thunder and lightning in Chunfeng City. These giant insects also saw the terrifying power of thunder and lightning for the first time. Just relying on the impact of the bombing, the giant insects in the front row were directly shattered. Not to mention the giant insects that escaped by chance. Although they saved their lives, it was obvious that one life was not enough for them to play like this. The thunder and lightning penetrated through, sizzling. It made them both confused. Little ones, let's make a big fuss. Yes, King of Thunder and Lightning. Then, Lei Tao waved his hand, and the people of the Thunder Eagle Kingdom around him also rushed up in a swarm. No fear. When he saw the Thunder Eagle Kingdom, Zhao Ying couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. At the same time, he couldn't help but complain. This Su Lin must have saved the Thunder Eagle Kingdom countless times. So many people. Why does it feel like the entire Thunder Eagle Kingdom is here? Looking at the huge crowds of people in front of him, Zhao Ying suspected that the entire Thunder Eagle Kingdom had come. Moreover, what shocked Zhao Ying even more was the equipment of the Thunder Eagle Kingdom. The uniforms, or the customized combat uniforms. Not only can they turn around flexibly, but they can also provide a certain degree of defense. I'm afraid they are made with the characteristics of bulletproof vests. This alone is not comparable to the miscellaneous army that was put together temporarily in Chunfeng City. Not to mention their weapons. What made Zhao Ying unbelievable was that the armed forces of the Thunder Eagle Kingdom were really a bit too much. The people who rushed to the front had sharp swords in their hands. Yes, not the ordinary machete or baseball bat, but the magic weapon made by special craftsmen. Maybe the Thunder Eagle Kingdom already has the superpowers that can make weapons. Standing on the second step are ruthless people holding submachine guns. And each of them has two. And standing in the row behind are heavy weapons such as various rocket launchers and laser cannons. Zhao Ying thought about moving these big guys from the military base, but thinking that the effect achieved on this crowded plane may not be as good as imagined. It can even be said that before the effect is achieved, it will cause accidental injuries or be directly destroyed by giant insects. So Zhao Ying did not do it. He didn't know if he had a selfish intention to leave good things for the military base. But when he saw the Thunder Eagle Kingdom moving these big guys, he was really stupid. At the same time, he felt ashamed. This is someone else's away game, and the Thunder Eagle Kingdom is just here to help. They move such good things out. But, Zhao Ying swallowed her saliva. What's going on with this Thunder Eagle Kingdom? How can such an iron-blooded army be forged with only the resources of a city? But, this makes me a little embarrassed. It turns out that I have selfish motives. Just when Zhao Ying was in such confusion, a huge figure suddenly flashed by. It came directly to Lei Tao. Finally here. Huh, you are? Wait. This feeling. Su Lin? Lei Tao's pupils widened. Yeah, it's me. Wow, you're so big, a giant? Yeah. How many secrets do you have? Lots, haha. By the way, don't use your cannons or anything like that. The crowd is too dense. I don't know the situation here either. Anyway, all the top-notch weapons have been moved here. Lei Tao shrugged, and then he squinted his eyes to look at the battle in the distance. But it's true that there are so many people, we really can't use them to avoid accidental injuries. That's for sure. So our commander Zhao Ying didn't use those guys either. At this point, the armored titan also looked behind him, in the direction of Zhao Ying. That luck seemed to be comforting Zhao Ying. Zhao Ying, who noticed Su Lin's eyes, felt warm in her heart and cast a grateful look at Su Lin. Well, by the way, we also have a superpower unit here, with a decent number of people and good abilities. Hey, at this point, Lei Tao grinned. The last time they met, the two of them also met people from the Superpower Alliance. Being frightened by the psychic with space power, Lei Tao had no time to show off to Su Lin. Now that he had the chance, he had to show off. Isn't this normal? At this stage, which salvation organization doesn't have a psychic? Ha. The armored titan rolled his eyes, and then he slowly squatted down. In this way, Lei Tao didn't have to look up to him like this. Anyway, thank you, Lei Tao. The armored titan slowly came. He really didn't expect that Lei Tao would move the entire Thunder Eagle Kingdom here. Although he did do him a favor, it seems that he can only say that Lei Tao is really a man of temperament. Very nice. Speaking of this, it just happens that today is the day to bother you, so I just brought a few more mouths to eat. Ha ha ha. Lei Tao laughed. Everything is self-evident. Ha ha ha. Well said. Then continue to fight. Well, Su Lin, lend me your shoulder. After saying that, Lei Tao jumped directly onto the shoulder of the armored titan. Su Lin also understood what Lei Tao meant, and immediately turned around and said, you can use lightning to fix it on my shoulder, to prevent you from falling down. Don't worry, I have thick skin and flesh. After saying that, the armored titan also started running again. Coincidentally, Yan Wu was seen on the road. The armored titan bent down and grabbed Yan Wu directly. When Yan Wu was surprised that he was caught by a big hand, he realized that it was Su Lin. Su Lin also put him on the other shoulder. Yan Wu, use fire to fix my shoulder, to prevent you from falling down. Okay. Oh, I wondered whose lightning just now was. It turned out to be you, Lei Tao. Haha. Little brother Yan Wu, long time no see. I'm here. Let's deal with the bugs together. That's what I meant. I'm afraid these bugs never expected it. The armored titan left for a while. When he came back, he looked completely different. His whole body was tightly wrapped in thunder and flames. The waving fists and the kicking legs were also full of the power of thunder and fire, which made them even more destructive. Moreover, there was an extra flame launcher and thunder launcher installed on his two shoulders. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.